Chris Sutton, what do you expect today?
Well, Eric Ten Hag in his programme notes said that the game against Chelsea, Manchester United were brave, proactive, energetic. Can they back up that performance against an improving Bournemouth team? A Bournemouth team now really finding the feet under Iraola in the Premier League.
And indeed, Andoni Iraola was the Athletic Bilbao captain when they beat Manchester United in a Europa League tie 11 years ago. Played as a right back, almost scored that night had it not been for David De Gea, and he brought his Rayo Vallecano side here last season for the pre-season, and they drew 1-1. That was when Cristiano Ronaldo made his first start on his second return for the Red of Manchester United. But we're underway here at Old Trafford, and they're underway in the Tingle Creek chase at Sandown. John Hunt.
Yes, they've jumped 2 of the 13 in. 2 miles ahead of them, Alex de Zobo leads the field from hot favourite John Bond, last year's winner Edward Stone, and Nuba Negra just last. A circuit to go.
And in the early results earlier on, as Onana goes into a challenge and the ball is seen behind for a goal kick, he said there was no touch there whatsoever, as the ball had been played forward, and Semenyo came out, and it will be a goal kick. But in the early results, Crystal Palace 1, Liverpool 2, Blackburn 0, Leeds United 2, Sunderland beat West Bromwich Albion 2-1. It was Solanke. There wasn't any touch there at all, was there, Chris?
No, I mean, I think they're checking it actually, because Solanke, it's a careless back pass into Onana, and Solanke just nips in front of him, gets a touch, but he goes down. There has to be sufficient contact from Onana, and there wasn't in the referee's opinion.
By the time that they actually had informed the crowd inside Old Trafford that they're checking the penalty, play had already restarted. And Manchester United had progressed, far side the left. Reguilon to Martial, ball given away, picked up by Justin Kluivert, tries to play it forward. It was an area against Chelsea, and they probably the best that they've played all season for Manchester United. 28 shots against Chelsea in midweek, but the one thing that Luke Shaw gave them as a left back, they looked a better balanced side. He got forward at every opportunity. Here he is playing as a central defender. They will miss his presence in that area.
Yes, they will. Reguilon getting the opportunity in that left back position, but Luke Shaw, such an important player, such a versatile player for Eric Ten Hag.
Fernandes picks it up midway through the Bournemouth half, gets it back from Martial. Anthony's gone central at the moment. Reguilon is forward, it's his cross, headed half away, down into the ground by Dalot in the penalty area, still hasn't been properly dealt with. Reguilon's shot, that was blocked inside the penalty area. Tavernier will eventually just clip it away, and out of play for a throw. Manchester United make a strong start.
Yeah, it's a good block, last ditch defending from Bournemouth. Reguilon with his weaker right foot, the ball just sitting there, takes a touch. Didn't get the power in it or the direction which he would have desired, but decent start for Manchester United, and Reguilon prominent in these opening exchanges.
In many ways, where they've struggled for consistency this season, we'll hope that Chelsea game sets the bar. But we're going to go racing on BBC Radio 5 Live, the Tingle Creek Chase. John Hunt.
This race often establishes Ian the top 2 mile chaser around. 4 runners, Nuba Negra struggling a little bit. Third last fence, Alex de Zobo is the leader for the informed Gary Moore stable. He's had 3 winners today. Hot favourite John Bond in second place, just nudged along for the first time, and Edward Stone turns to the second last fence in third place. He was last year's winner. John Bond, a small error there, but so too the leader, Alex de Zobo, and the two of them come close together. Edward Stone not out of this either. Running now down towards the final fence in the Tingle Creek. John Bond will have a narrow lead here. John Bond over safely, touches down with a length and a half advantage over Edward Stone and Alex de Zobo onto the run-in. An uphill finish here in heavy going, but John Bond just loves it, and he powers up the hill to win the Tingle Creek for Nicky Henderson and jockey Nico de Bonville. John Bond continues his rise to the top. He's already there. He beats Edward Stone and Alex de Zobo in great style.
Thank you, John, and I'm sure there might well be some reaction to that in Sports Report from 5 o'clock with Mark Chapman later. 0-0, falling towards Solanke. Solanke with a fine finish, and Bournemouth are ahead inside 5 minutes. The cross from the right-hand side whipped in early, and Solanke took it ever so well. And Manchester United fall behind because Solanke has scored against them for the first time in his career.
Do you know what, Bournemouth, they're not that bothered about their possession, but what they do is they set traps and they press so well, and it's actually Cook who does really well, the holding midfielder for Bournemouth, intercepts, drives down the right hand side, and he puts a great ball in along the floor, and Solanke gets a run on Harry Maguire, level with the near post, pace on the ball, and the pace on the ball, he just uses it and deflects the ball beautifully past Onana into the far corner. It's a really composed finish. He is on fire this season, Solanke, but Bournemouth showing their intent early on. They're going to press and harry Manchester United, and they go in front. Wonderful finish, Ian.
It was. He took it in his stride, hit it first time, right-footed, and just flicked the ball, guiding it past Onana. And so Bournemouth are ahead here at Old Trafford. We welcome listeners to the BBC World Service. Wherever you are in the world, always a pleasure to have your company. I hope it's drier wherever you may be. It's absolutely pouring down here at Old Trafford. But Manchester United 0, Bournemouth 1, and a goal inside 5 minutes for a Bournemouth team who've now scored in each of their last 9 games. They are a team that are starting to find their feet after 9 games where they started the campaign without a win under Andoni Iraola.
Yeah, and that's their 19th goal of the season. The last 4 games have scored 9 goals. The previous 11 games, only 9 goals. So I said at the start, they are finding their feet. They're having a belief in the way that they play. They're not bothered about possession, but they are excellent out of possession. Really caught Manchester United out. Wonderful ball, wasn't it, from Cook, and then Solanke, near post run, pace on the ball, just deflecting it past Onana. What a start.
There was I think it might have been the game against Aston Villa where Kirkes stepped forward out of defence from left back, and it led to one of the goals, and that was very similar to how they press, as to how Cook charged forward from his midfield role to win the ball for Bournemouth high up the pitch and then send that cross in from the right hand side. So an early goal as Manchester United try and get an equaliser. Martial touches the ball back to Bruno Fernandes. Reguilon's continued his run into the box with a cutback, and then it's snipped out by Senesi and behind for a corner. Goal at Rangers, Ailey Barber.
And it is visitors Dundee who have taken the lead from a corner. Chaos in the Rangers box, and there was Bakayoko just prodded in past Jack Butland to give the visitors a shock lead. Rangers 0, Dundee 1.
Reading 1, Barnsley 0 is the latest score in League One. You're up to date, 5 Live, the World Service and BBC Sounds. Corner taken short on the left hand side, headed out well by Solanke, now on defensive duties. Not scored in 5 previous games against Manchester United, but Bruno Fernandes wins the ball back. And now it's out towards Reguilon. Cross is a high one from the left hand side. Maguire has stayed up, and his looping header is tipped over by Neto. Held his ground, got the header on target, had a long way to drop, and Neto was watchful.
Yeah, across from left hand touchline from Reguilon, who's been really prominent in these opening 7-8 minutes, and Maguire just bullies Kirkes, holds him off. He doesn't actually jump, he's planted his feet and just tries to loop it.
In comes the corner kick, repelled by the head of Senesi, headed further away, comes towards Fernandes, plays it high into the ground. This time it's Christie who gets his head on that to get it away out of the penalty area, and then there was a late challenge on Anthony, who tries to make the most of it. He goes out of play for a throw to the home side. Wimbledon leads Swindon by a goal to 0. That's in League 2, you're up to date. So a lively start here at Old Trafford. Bald-headed Amrabat able to turn midway through the Bournemouth half. His diagonal ball finds Martial, then he slips quickly back to his feet though in these greasy wet conditions. Fernandes out to Garnacho. Garnacho enters the penalty area, pulls it back hard into the feet of Dalot, cleared by Bournemouth only as far as Shaw. Amrabat, Manchester United camped inside the Bournemouth half. Maguire's early ball headed back by Fernandes. Garnacho looks for a shooting possibility. Smith gets a foot into the challenge. Amrabat now back out towards Bruno Fernandes. Manchester United looking to put some pressure here on Bournemouth Shaw now runs out towards the left. It's Shaw's cross gathered in by Neto at his near post. Let's get an update from Sheffield United. Lee Blakeman at Bramall Lane.
Lively start here too. Sheffield United 0, Brentford 0. Sheffield United with the game's best chance. Austin Tracy in from the left, edge of the area, fierce shot, deflected just wide of the bottom corner, 0-0.
Burton are ahead to Stevenage, who are 4th in League One. Burton 1, Stevenage 0. We'll get an update from Molyneux. Pat Murphy.
It's Wolves 0, Forest 0. A bitty start, no real pattern at the moment. The Wolves fans' message for Steve Cooper: you're getting sacked. The sensitivity of football fans, Ian. 0-0 at Molyneux.
To Brighton, Henry Moran.
Goalless, Brighton 0, Burnley 0. Good chance though for Burnley. Johan Goodmanson cutting in on the right hand side, left-footed shot just curling wide of the post. 0-0.
Supporters never miss an opportunity to either goad or taunt an opposing manager, but certainly the Forest fans are still behind Steve Cooper. Question is the owner, as Garnacho lifts the ball into the air, headed away by Fernandez. Bournemouth lead by a goal to 0 on a ground where they've never won at Old Trafford. They've lost 9 of their 10 trips. The only exception, 2017, they got a 1-1 draw despite Andrew Sherman being sent off on the stroke of half-time.
And you're looking at it very negatively from a Bournemouth perspective, but they may feel, well, they're due. Law of averages.
Yes, law of averages indeed. And Andoni Iraola is certainly not phased. You look at their recent results. You know, they've beat Newcastle United at home. They won away at Sheffield United. 2-2 draw at home to in-form Aston Villa. And then a midweek away win at Crystal Palace. Only Arsenal have actually taken more during that little 4-match spell in terms of points.
Well, you think that the performance against Newcastle was one of real authority, wasn't it?
Here is Dalot. McTominay able to stride forward from midfield, passes the ball to Martial, looks offside. Kirkes will clear the ball away. The flag had actually stayed down. Solanke coming back, they're full of running Bournemouth. Solanke then adjudged to have been fouled by Anthony, goes to ground and he wins a throw for the away team.
Yeah, really good free kick to win from Solanke. Under pressure from Maguire initially, took a heavy touch and then Anthony brings him down. The Manchester United, I suppose, everybody will be looking at that decision from Eric Ten Hag to play Anthony Martial as a central striker ahead of Højlund. What Martial are we going to get this afternoon? A motivated Martial or a moody Martial?
If we get a Martial who can offer movement.
I mean, from his perspective, this is another opportunity for him. Eventually the penny has to drop, doesn't it?
Well, you would think so. Certainly Højlund, is he being kept back for Tuesday night against Bayern in the Champions League? Højlund, who's still yet to score in the Premier League. Mind you, Martial's hardly been prolific with 2 goals, but here he is feeding the ball towards Garnacho, and Garnacho now runs at Smith, the right back. He runs in field, he finds McTominay. McTominay's shot, it was charged down by Senesi, and it's going to run behind for a corner kick for Manchester United on this near side, the right.
Yes, Senesi does really well to get a block on there. Scott McTominay, Manchester United's leading scorer in the Premier League this season. It's 20 yards out centrally, takes a decent first touch, but Senesi gets the block on. Chance for Manchester United from the corner.
Bruno Fernandes to take it. Manchester United playing from left to right as we look. Right hand side, it's right-footed, it's an outswinger. Maguire tries to get his head on it. Bouncing ball headed out by Smith, picked up by Kluivert. Tried to get Tavernier away on the counter-attack, but Anthony had tracked that run. Dalot has stayed forward. Here he is outside the penalty area. Gets a shot away. No, he doesn't. Slides it instead. McTominay's effort first time blocked by Kirkes. There's been a goal at Molyneux, Pat Murphy.
It's gone to Wolves and it's been scored by Harry Toffolo. A deep cross from the right, and there he was at the far post. A downward header despite Dawson's efforts in the net. Wolves 0, Forest 1. How important is that moment for Steve Cooper?
So Forest are ahead, and that will certainly quiet those Wolves fans who'd been taunting Steve Cooper. So Forest are ahead after 4 successive defeats. Harry Toffolo with that goal. Wolves 0, Nottingham Forest 1. Anthony picks it up, slides it into McTominay with his back to goal, inside right channel. Out of the box finds Anthony once again, floats over the cross, headed away by Smith, only as far as Reguilon, backheels the ball on the edge of the area, and Christie's there to bring the ball away. Certainly that Christie-Cook formation is working well for Bournemouth of late in the midfield.
Yep, it certainly is, and Ryan Christie, the manager's had a lot of faith in him. I think he's only missed one game this season, Ryan Christie. A bit of a different role to the one which he has been used to throughout his career, where he normally plays higher up as a number 10 or a number 8. Great legs he's got, real energy, and so is Cook, both tenacious players, and they're going to have a job on, or they have a job on this afternoon against Fernandes and McTominay.
There's a penalty at Leicester City, the league leaders of the Championship. Leicester City, Sani Radradra.
Yeah, and it's for the leaders, Leicester. Mavididi brought down inside the box. He's standing over this now to take it. Very, very short run up indeed. Only one pace. He is away from the goalkeeper. Walks back now. Cooper in the goal in all pink in his way. Mavididi stands over this. Jogging run up. And side puts it into the corner, beyond the keeper to the bottom left-hand corner. Leicester lead here at the King Power. It's Leicester 1 with a
ball
4-goal nil.
The break and the shot comes in, and it was straight at Onana.
I tell you what a break from Bournemouth, one end to the other. Again, careless pass, and once again setting a trap. Tavernier on the left-hand side, chopping in on his right foot. It opened up, 14-15 yards out from the angle. It was a weak right-footed shot. Big chance for Bournemouth to go 2 up.
Tavernier it was who had that opportunity, and he almost got the ball back, but now it's Manchester United coming forward. So Bournemouth are ahead, Nottingham Forest are ahead, no goals at Bramall Lane, Sheffield United Brentford or Brighton Burnley. Bournemouth now with some defending to do. Smith back towards Neto, clears it, no nonsense, all in green, up towards Solanke, tried to head it as it reared up towards him into the path of Justin Clivert over on that far side, but it's gone out of play for a throw.
And Kirkes did brilliantly for Bournemouth there, marauding on from the left back position, and then Dalot had a decision to make. He got drawn by Kirkes, allowing Tavernier on the inside onto his weaker right foot. Quite a tame effort that was, wasn't it? Big opportunity for Bournemouth.
That's the voice of Chris Sutton, who will be back on BBC Radio 5 after we've brought you Aston Villa against Arsenal, which is our next commentary at 5:30. This is the first of 6 live Premier League commentaries this weekend from 5 Live Sport. 6:06 of course at around 7:30. 08085 909 693.
Text 85058.
Yeah. Maybe any other way of getting in touch? Social media possibly?
Yeah.
Numerous ways now, isn't there?
Absolutely.
Semenyo. Wickets in the cricket, Melissa Story.
2 wickets in short succession as both of England's openers, Wyatt and Dunkley, gone, but with this low total to chase, just 81 runs needed for England. They need a further 63 to go, so hopefully with no more wickets lost it will be an easy chase.
Bournemouth still leading by a goal to 0. 5 Live in the World Service, just over 17 minutes played. Kirkes, Christie able to turn, lays it out to Tavernier, back with Senesi, plays it forward now to Christie once more. Every outfield player is in the half away towards our left. Bournemouth in their half shirts, the yellow and navy, and then Senesi to Kirkes, downward header. Dalot should see this back to Onana as the away team are still ahead. Chris?
Yeah, there's a half chance actually from Solanke just a moment ago. Smith with a clip ball in behind Luke Shaw. Solanke, wonderful first touch. Onana had come out with the angle against Solanke, ended up holding the ball up, but his movement, the timing of his runs, excellent from Solanke.
18 minutes played. Bournemouth leading through a Solanke early goal as Senesi with a back pass in the rain to Neto. Blustery conditions, waits for the ball to almost come to a halt before he hits it downfield. Shaw heads it forward, flick on by McTominay, foul there by Cook, spotted by our referee who is Peter Banks, and Manchester United left of the centre circle inside their own half with this free kick to take it. Amrabat gets it towards Shaw.
It's interesting the way Bournemouth set up. They set up as a back four, but Senesi, the left centre half of Bournemouth, now goes into midfield. Has been pressing McTominay and now keeping an eye on Bruno, so they're happy to leave themselves 3-on-3, Bournemouth.
Martial, his forward ball reaches McTominay, back to Martial once again. Dalot in that inverted right back forward role, wanted the ball, gets it, now he makes a run on the overlap as Anthony comes inside to Bruno Fernandes. He tried to chip it in, Senesi again got tight towards him, and then Amrabat is judged to have fouled Kluivert. Peter Banks says no. Bournemouth protest. Maguire brings the ball forward, stepping out of defence. Dalot level with the penalty area on the right. Grimsby lead Crewe by a 0-0 at Blundell Park. David Artel against his former club, looking for his first win as Grimsby manager, incidentally. There's Bruno Fernandes. Manchester United at the minute playing in front of Bournemouth. Amrabat. Maguire again has stayed forward. But Tavernier almost filling in as an extra left back alongside Kerkez, because Manchester United have committed so many red shirts forward, but Bournemouth don't seem to be too phased at this stage, and it's been a confident opening 20 minutes from the away team.
Bournemouth's game plan is to defend in numbers, defend deep, and then spring those attacks, and what I say, they've been very effective so far.
Martial gets on the end of a pass from Anthony that took a deflection. Back to Dalot just in from the right touchline. Anthony now looking for the run of Bruno Fernandes. Right side of the penalty area. Bruno Fernandes finds Martial. It was a heavy touch off his left boot, and that allowed Cook to clear the ball away. As we go to the Amex, Henry Moran.
Still goalless, Brighton 0, Burnley 0. Burnley the better of the two sides, ambition going forward. Amdouni on the stretch, good trouble for Bruggen in the Brighton goal, but they have been impressive, the away side. Brighton 0, Burnley 0.
Rotherham at home to Swansea today. They're down to 10 men. The former Liverpool man Daniel Ayala has been sent off. Tranmere 0, Newport County 1 is the latest score from Prenton Park. And at Pittodrie it's Aberdeen 0, Hearts 1. Remember, Rangers are behind to Dundee at Ibrox. Crystal Palace 1, Liverpool 2 was the result at Selhurst Park earlier. Liverpool coming from behind to gain a fourth successive win. Leeds United won on their travels, and Sunderland beat West Bromwich Albion 2-1. I mentioned that Rangers were behind. There has been another goal at Ibrox. Ailey.
They are no longer behind. Cyril Dessers with his 5th goal of the season has drawn them level. Rangers have dominated since going behind. Dessers starting today with the injury to Danilo. 2 bites at the cherry, the first block, the second into the roof of the net, and it's Rangers 1, Dundee 1.
Thanks Ailey. Reguilon again a little bit too much of a heavy touch, just showed it to Zabani, who stepped forward. Christie picks it up. Tavernier on this near side, coming infield now for Bournemouth. Semenyo's actually made that little run into a central area, tried to thread it through, that was blocked. Loose ball picked up by Anthony. Semenyo has stayed down.
And Tony Iriola not happy that a free kick wasn't awarded to Bournemouth there. Popped the ball off Semenyo, but then he was clattered, struggled to his feet.
With an eye on Tuesday, Bayern Munich of course come here for that pivotal Champions League game. Bayern Munich are trailing 3-1 away to Eintracht Frankfurt in the Bundesliga. As Martial closes down the attempted clearance from Zabani, but then sliding out to the right hand side of his penalty area, all in green, was the Brazilian keeper Neto with a smothering save. Midway through the first half, Manchester United, they peppered the Chelsea goal in midweek with 28 shots, more than they've had in a long time. I can only recall the Neto being forced into action once so far in the opening quarter from the Maguire looping header.
Yeah, a lot made about Bournemouth and their defensive record and their XG against. Was it only Arsenal and who was the other one?
Semenyo wins the ball back, runs forward, edge of the area. Semenyo glides across this wet surface. Kerkez joins the attack. Milos Kerkez with a chip ball in. Great save by Nana, flags them on the far side. Ball's been put in by Kluivert, but the flag was raised early. VAR would make the check, but Bournemouth had that goal ruled out. But a fine save from Onana anyway, before the flag was raised from Solanke's header.
Yep, but what do we know? Bournemouth actually looked the greater threat. See, the ball stood up. He's a long way offside. It's Kerkez. The ball just clipped in, dinked in to the far post. And Solanke actually should score, heads it straight at Onana, should go back across him, and the ball popped in by Tavernier, but rightly ruled out.
Yes. VAR did check it, but it was a good decision by the assistant referee on that far side. But the warning signs are there for all to see, and not just because the electronic scoreboards here inside Old Trafford read Manchester United 0, Bournemouth 1, but Bournemouth are carrying a threat every time that they go forward. Blackpool 1, Carlisle 0. Huddersfield lead Bristol City by 1-0 in the Championship. Dalot out towards Garnacho. Garnacho, edge of the penalty area, out to Reguilon. Reguilon stands over the cross, easily headed away by Senesi. So we will go to Brighton-Burnley. Henry Moran.
Still goalless. We've just seen a looping header over the bar from Pascal Gross. Brighton starting to come into it a little bit. Crowd getting more energised. Brighton 0, Burnley 0.
And also Sheffield United, Brentford, Lee Blakeman.
It's 0-0 and it's been scrappy. There's Austin Trusty with the game's best chance. He's just been shown a yellow card too for a really strong late tackle on Keane Lewis Potter, but it's 0-0 at the moment.
Sometimes it's good to keep those in the studio on their toes. Manchester United 0, Bournemouth 1. We got there in the end. Here is Anthony to Maguire. Maguire goes back. Well, after that performance against Chelsea, they set the bar. They're not living up to those same standards here today.
No,
they're labouring.
Yeah, but a large part of that is credit to Bournemouth. How well organised they are when they're out of possession, and they're happy to be quite direct. Maguire does well there.
Here is Bruno Fernandes. Reguilon charging through from left back. Semenyo tries to go with him into Garnacho. Garnacho accelerates into the area, looks for the cross, cleared though by the Bournemouth defence, picked up by Fernandes on that far side, looks for the run of Reguilon ahead of him, gets it back to Bruno Fernandes, one little touch inside to Garnacho, but Bournemouth again were alert. That was Adam Smith with some good defensive work in the right back area. Peterborough 1, Oxford United 0 is a scoreline from London Road. That's 5th against 3rd. Oxford United, who are yet to win or indeed score in League One under the 2 games under Des Buckingham, and Peterborough 1-0 up at London Road in that top of the table clash. Meanwhile, Kluivert's attacking for Bournemouth, and his cross from the right hand side is behind Solanke. It's an open game actually.
No, it is. I think it's Reguilon who needs to work harder and stop the cross there. Too easy for Kluivert to get that cross in. Sloppy.
And it's a corner kick to Bournemouth. Before we get that, we're able to slip in Nikesh Regani with news of that Peterborough goal.
Yeah, it was a shot from Archie Collins from outside the area. It was parried away by James Beadle in the Oxford goal. Hector Cipriano latched on and hit in from close range. It's Peterborough 1, Oxford United 0.
So as it stands, Peterborough would go 3rd, Oxford and Stevenage trailing. Portsmouth and Bolton, incidentally, the top 2 play on Monday night, as a yellow card has been shown on that far side.
Time wasting. He's just
for Tavernier.
He is walking over so slowly.
So 27 minutes played, first yellow card shown by referee Peter Banks. Tavernier still chuntering to himself as he waits to take the corner on the right. Stuttering run up, Bournemouth lead 1-0, and it comes, it's an in-swinger. Oh, and the header was close. It was Zabani who was up from the back, and it's drifted wide. In fact, it's taken a touch off a United player behind for another corner. There's been another goal at Ibrox, Ailey Barber.
From one Tavernier to another, because Rangers captain James Tavernier has just put his side ahead from the penalty spot. Penalty awarded after referee Kevin Clancy had a look at the pitch side monitor following a Rangers corner, and up stepped Tavernier for his 13th goal of the season to put Rangers ahead by 2-1.
So the older brother James, anything you can do, kid, I can follow suit. And it comes another corner kick, and the flick on at the near post runs over the top and out for a goal kick. Bournemouth, though, deservedly ahead.
Yeah, they are, and what would worry Eric Ten Hag from those 2 corners? Bournemouth getting the first contact on the ball. Zabani unlucky with first header. We're trying to loop it. We use the pace of the ball and loop it to the far corner. And Solanke just nipping in front of his man, getting the header, but hitting it high over the bar.
The voice of Chris Sutton on BBC Radio 5 Live, BBC Sounds and the World Service. Semenyo, free kick in favour of the home team. Reguilon wanted to leave it for Bruno Fernandes, but he'd left it as well. They both ended up walking away from it 10 yards inside their own half, and in the end it's just been knocked along the ground towards Amrabat. Martial, again another heavy touch by Martial. Back out it goes to Shaw. Amrabat now able to turn, almost caught in possession by Christie, but he released it just in the nick of time towards Dalot, who hits an early ball towards Bruno Fernandes, who was never really likely to get there, and he tried to slide it to try and force it onto the path of Martial without any real conviction. One of our featured games in League Two is at Bristol Rovers. Sheridan Robbins, there's been a goal.
Cheltenham have taken the lead, the bottom side in League One. Will Goodwin with his 5th goal of the season. Bristol Rovers have been all over the shop defensively. He had acres of time, acres of space. Bottom corner, Bristol Rovers 0, Cheltenham 1.
Yeah, Bristol Rovers there in League One, unbeaten in 6 at home and looking to make that 7 with that lead. Northampton 1, Fleetwood 0 is the latest score also in League One. Reguilon fouled. And that will be Kluivert just having a talking to. Oh, and he's actually talked himself into the book. The yellow card has been shown.
Was that for dissent or was that for the initial challenge? Reguilon just driving past Kluivert in the middle of the park. Challenges him. An accidental coming together. I think it's a foul. Does he question the referee?
Just the way that Bruno Fernandes is talking to Peter Banks, I wonder if that was actually to Reguilon. We'll just wait and see. It was Manchester United trailing still. A flat performance really from the home team so far in the rain. No other goals to tell you about elsewhere. No, it was to Kluivert. Bruno Fernandes, though, was certainly having a word with Peter Banks.
That's unlike him.
Semenyo back to Maguire. And Bournemouth at the minute are doing a number on the home team. Let's get an update from Bramall Lane. Lee Blakeman.
It's Sheffield United 0, Brentford 0. Frank Onyeka's just been given a yellow card for a late tackle on Vinny Souza. It was very late, it was on the ankle. VAR have had a long look at this and decided no red, just a yellow for Onyeka. 0-0.
Hooked away by McTominay under pressure from Kirkes. Livingston 0, Hibs 1 is the latest score in the Scottish Premiership. Kluivert picks up the ball, looks towards Tavernier. Half blocked by Maguire. Another good challenge by Maguire. November's Premier League Player of the Month, of course. 2 very good stops. A little bit of confusion. So the TV screen went with Kluivert for the yellow card, but our little Premier League app does indeed say it was Reguilon who was shown yellow. So we'll go with Reguilon being booked rather than Kluivert, because that is what the official Premier League match manager is telling us. Meanwhile, Semenyo comes forward. On that far side, the right, drifts into a central area. Kluivert then thought that Tavernier was behind him, didn't bother going for the ball, and it's petered out for a throw. Another goal at Molineux. Pat Murphy.
It's the equaliser for Wolves. It's been coming, and it's side-footed in from about 6 yards by Cunha, who's had very little service so far, but this time rolled into his stride, no problem at all. Forest have done it again, sat back on the lead. Wolves 1, Forest 1.
Manchester United 0, Bournemouth 1. Sheffield United, Brentford, Brighton, Burnley both goalless. Chris Sutton.
Yeah, just a couple of moments ago, Bruno had that earlier booking for Tavernier, didn't we, for the time wasting. Popped a ball forward, ran into Tavernier, went down. I think you're saying to the referee that should have been a second yellow. I don't think it was. Bit naughty from Bruno, that.
Well, that was something that the officials were said to be clamping down on, wasn't it?
Chatting to the referee.
For the old gesturing of the imaginary card. Exeter 0, Port Vale 1, Northampton 2, Fleetwood 0. You're up to date with the goals as they go in. BBC Radio 5 Live. 13 minutes to go to the break. As Maguire hoists the ball out towards Garnacho. Bournemouth appealing for offside. Flag for the time being stays down. Garnacho enters the penalty area with the cross. There's no real presence for Manchester United, is there, in that attacking sense? That cross came in. They're lacking a distinct cutting edge here so far.
They are. The quality of the cross wasn't great. I mean, when Garnacho isolates Adam Smith in that right back position down that Manchester United left hand side, you fancy him to really cause them 1 or 2 problems. So Bournemouth trying to make sure they get a midfielder out there on the side of the ball.
They've only scored 18 goals so far in this Premier League season. The only time they've actually had fewer in the Premier League was 31 years ago, when they had 14 goals from 15. Reguilon charging his way forward. Reguilon tried to get it out towards Anthony, but couldn't make the pass. Cook, forward ball. Semenyo able to get away from Amrabat, helps it out towards Tavernier. Solanke and Kluivert are ahead of him, and Tavernier manages to wriggle free, shoots from distance, but has skied that left-footed from a good 30 yards out, over the top, goal kick, but Bournemouth are still ahead.
Yeah, careless pass at one end from Manchester United, and then Bournemouth, they look the bigger threat, they do, and they're breaking out. Tavernier eventually winning the tussle with McTominay 25 yards out, chancing his arm with a left-footed effort, high and wide.
Notts County have taken the lead at Meadow Lane in League 2. Notts County 1, Walsall 0 is a latest score. Onana, all in green away towards our left in front of the Stretford end, hits it high downfield.
It's an easy again, that Bournemouth centre-half going in with the Manchester United midfielder winning the ball. They are so well organised, aren't they, Bournemouth?
They are. And here is Senesi once again back towards Neto, not phased. Martial running towards him, chipped it out towards Kirkes, who does well actually to get away from Anthony, but Anthony's tenacity pays off, wins the ball, runs away on this near right hand side. Kirkes now back in position as he backpedals infield along the ground towards Martial, 30 yards out from goal. Bruno Fernandes back towards Martial. Martial runs away from a half-hearted challenge, edge of the area, and the shot then left-footed was straight at Neto, hardly at much power to trouble the Brazilian. Another goal at Peterborough, Nikesh Regani.
Whereas Peterborough 2, Oxford United 0, and it was another long ball over the top into Archie Collins, who rounded the Oxford United keeper, slotted in from close range. Peterborough 2, Oxford United 0.
Back to Neto. It wasn't the best of clearances first time, skimmed it a little bit, but Senesi able to get it to Milos Kirkes, now with Christie, the Scottish international. Rangers have got a third goal, incidentally, at home to Dundee. We'll get news of that from Ailey Barber when we can. Rangers 3, Dundee 1. Solanke, the goal scorer, gets a free kick, and in fact, I mentioned Ailey's name, here she is.
And it is Rangers who go 3-1 ahead thanks to Abdullah Sima. 13 goals for him this season from a corner. He was all on his own in the middle of the box. Brilliant header, no chance Trevor Carson. And Rangers are in cruise control. It's Rangers 3, Dundee 1.
Leyton Orient 0, Derby 1 is the latest score in League 1. Hoyland is starting to warm up. How long have we played? 36 minutes. Manchester United have been disappointing. Still they can't find that level of consistency that they're searching for. As Tavernier waits to take this free kick, Lewis Cook is also in close proximity. Quite a high line from the red shirts of Manchester United. Tavernier, Cook, eventually it's Cook who swings this one in, and the ball is caught by Onana. That came off a United head.
Was it Maguire head or
might have been Dallo,
I think, who that was looping in, and Onana had to concentrate.
Back to Bruno Fernandes, struggling to create clear-cut chances so far. Manchester United, Leeds United third in the Championship, won away at Ewood Park earlier. We know that Leicester, the league leaders of the Championship, are leading against Plymouth. Second placed Ipswich, there at Middlesbrough. There's been a goal at the Riverside. Charlie Slater.
And it's Ipswich who have got it. Borough 0, Ipswich 1. Connor Chaplin out of nothing. This game has been awful, but this finish is excellent. 18 yards out. Connor Chaplin on the volley. Ipswich lead 1-0.
Well, Nacho's cross from the left only falls towards Christie. He plays it up towards Solanke. Maguire has gone with him in that challenge, and there's been a foul on Solanke. It'll be a free kick to Bournemouth. Ipswich without a win in 3 away games, but leading on Teesside.
Yeah, they are. What a season they're having. As Solanke does really well for Bournemouth under intense pressure from Maguire. Gets his body in. That's the first touch on the ball, and then Maguire's really after him, and so is Amrabat. He wins the free kick, and the foul just relieves that bit of pressure for Bournemouth.
In the unrelenting rain, Bournemouth are still 1-0 up. Update from the Amex, Henry Moran.
Brighton 0, Burnley 0, but that Burnley goal beginning to live a charmed life. Milner, Van Heck, Dahoud, all causing problems, going close. Brighton 0, Burnley 0.
5 Live's breakfast win the headlines returns on Monday morning with Rick and Rachel. You can have a chance next week to win a trip to the darts. Not much on target so far for Manchester United.
Very good. Are you a darts man?
Am I a darts man? I think I might. Well, I'm not too sure whether I would enjoy Night of the Darts. There are elements of it I might particularly partake in.
Which particular ones?
The Bonhomie, I think. Would you agree?
Oh yeah. Well, knowing you, as I've known you for a while, yeah, absolutely.
Smith wins the ball, feeds it into the path of Solanke. Solanke steadies himself, hits the post, right-footed, hits the base of the left-hand post. Bournemouth so close to a second goal.
Oh, it's great movement from Solanke. His positioning in between Shaw and Maguire, makes the run, timing of the run brilliant. First touch, excellent. Then he tries to find the far corner, and it rattles off the post.
A good ball through from Smith to pick him out. Tavernier now with the cross. Blocked by Shaw. That would have quite easily have fallen towards Solanke, as then the shot is driven in by Lewis Cook and it's off target. But very, very unfortunate for Bournemouth. Update from Bramall Lane now. Lee Blakeman.
Sheffield United 0, Brentford 0. Big chance for the home side though. Hamer with a through ball. Ashula got on the end of it, right side of the area, 12 yards out, and drilled it into the side netting. Sheffield United 0, Brentford 0.
Barnsley have equalised in League One. Reading 1, Barnsley 1. Garnacho has gone down holding his face here, so there's a stoppage in play. Chris.
Yeah, just seeing Garnacho has taken one to the cheek. It's a flailing arm, I think, from Smith, but just seeing that Solanke effort. How close is that? Off the post. He has been a massive threat, hasn't he, in this first half for Bournemouth?
It was the way that he steadied himself as well, wasn't it? He was very composed inside the penalty area.
Yeah, great first touch, allowed him to get his head up and try and find that far corner. Wasn't far away. Garnacho still down, still in a bit of pain.
Physio's been called for, so a lengthy stoppage here, and we can get news of India women against England. Melissa Story.
England are 61 for 3 as Nat Sivabrunt is bowled by Pooja Vastrika, but England only needing a further 20 more runs to win this second T20.
Going back to Solanke, 9 goals he's scored in all competitions, but his return in the Premier League now goes to 8.
It's 2, isn't it?
It's his best ever return in the Premier League. Eight goals, so he's certainly in fine form. Still, there is a stoppage with Garnacho getting treated. Wolves, Nottingham Forest. An update from Pat.
It's still 1-1. Wolves turning up the wick now after that equaliser. Sarabia and Semedo becoming more and more influential in midfield. Wolves 1, Forest 1.
Sheffield United 0, Brentford 0 it remains, as it does at the Amex between Brighton and Hove Albion and Burnley. So to the Championship, we can get another update from Middlesbrough with Charlie Slater.
40 minutes gone, Ipswich continue to lead by a goal to 0, but Borough coming oh so close to an equaliser. Emmanuel Latilat, who's just got rockets for boots, he's so fast, skips between half of the Ipswich defence and fires just wide. Still 1-0 to Ipswich.
He looks in a lot of discomfort from the left side of his face, Garnacho, from a flailing arm from Smith.
Yeah, I mean, both players have their eye on the ball. I don't think there's any malice from Smith at all. Both turning as the ball bounces and his arm comes out and catches Garnacho. He's just getting to his feet. He's down a while though, wasn't he?
That's been a lengthy stoppage. Colchester 0, Crawley 1 is the latest score in League 2. What's the latest at Vicarage Road? Becky Ives.
Unfortunately 0-0 between these two sides. Not the most dynamic of games, a little slow, a couple of misplaced passes and very limited chances. Having said that, Southampton just had a shot on target, Jan Bednarek, but unfortunately it went over the bar. That's about as exciting as it's got. Watford 0, Southampton 0.
Match of the day tonight, 10:20 on BBC One. Garnacho's just coming to the side of the pitch here, so they're going to be temporarily down to 10. Bath, Ulster, Sarah Orchard in the rugby.
It is Bath 0, Ulster 0, 25 minutes played. It's definitely been Bath who've had the better opportunities, but at the moment it's just one Finn Russell missed penalty that has been the real shot, but they've got a scrum 5 metres out. It is Bath 0, Ulster 0.
Wycombe 0, Shrewsbury 1 is the latest score in League 1. Play is back underway. Garnacho still off the field at the moment, and when that header runs away off the head of Zabani, there's nobody to pick it up for Manchester United, and Semenya then has overrun it as Garnacho comes back onto the field, and we have 2 minutes of normal time remaining, but there's going to be lengthy stoppage time.
Yeah, there is, and there was real complacency there from Reguilon as there was a hopeful ball clipped into the right-hand channel. Manchester United half, and Reguilon just stopped for a moment, looked at Luke Shaw, thought he was going to get on the other side of it, but Semenya ran past him and got there, just took a really awful touch.
When they scored in the first half here on Wednesday night against Chelsea, it was the only second time in 8 Premier League home games that they'd scored before half-time. So it's a recurring problem for Manchester United, once again, hitting a blank before the break at Old Trafford. And certainly haven't done nowhere near enough in this first half against an excellent Bournemouth team, who deservedly lead by 1-0. We're inside the last 60 seconds of this first half. It's no longer goalless at Brighton. Henry Moran.
Brighton 0, Burnley 1. Wilson Odobert with a beauty coming in on the left-hand side, smacking that ball into the top corner at the near post. May have been a tiny deflection. It matters not to those Burnley fans. Brighton 0, Burnley 1.
Still can't keep a clean sheet in the Premier League, Brighton. Only one loss in 9, but that is a surprise. So Burnley are ahead. Wolves 1, Nottingham Forest 1. 1-0 to Bournemouth here. Sheffield United 0, Brentford 0. Earlier Crystal Palace 1, Liverpool 2. We'll have commentary of Aston Villa Arsenal at 5:30. Bruno Fernandes keeps the ball in play, comes to a standstill, far side, the left, midway through the Bournemouth half. Garnacho out to Bruno Fernandes once again. Reguilon goes on the overlap. Here is Reguilon as he cuts inside now, sends over the cross, and well claimed by the keeper Neto.
Well claimed, but it's a dreadful ball. As well worked down the left-hand side, overlap.
Reguilon, clever reverse pass from Bruno Fernandes, but Manchester United filling the box. And all he does, he takes a touch, Reguilon, and just dinks the ball up. Neto moves his feet and claims the ball easily. In the final third, Manchester United just haven't been clean enough.
Hardly going to leave Bayern Munich quaking in their boots, is it? They're for Tuesday night. Bayern, the last we heard, were 3-1 down away at Eintracht Frankfurt. Kerkez with a back pass to Neto, who actually anticipates that Antony's going to dive in, so just takes one more touch to his right, clears, comes back with Garnacho. Garnacho's effort was snuffed out by Zabani, and then Smith goes into the sliding challenge and wins the ball there, and then hits the ball up towards Solanke, and a break is on here. Solanke now to Semenyo. Semenyo into the penalty area, back towards Solanke. Excellent defending again by Harry Maguire. But there's been a goal at Sheffield United. Lee Blakeman.
It's gone to Sheffield United. What a goal! They lead Brentford 1-0. James McAtee, right side of the area, left foot curler across goal into the top corner. What a strike! Sheffield United 1, Brentford 0.
The groans because the move has broken down for Manchester United, as now Tavernier will try and outrun Amrabat. Amrabat just does enough as he leaves Spray in his wake as he goes into that sliding challenge. 4 minutes of added on time we're into here at Old Trafford. 5 live. Manchester United looking for an equaliser. Anthony, they've doubled up on him. Looking at Solanke back there filling in to help out Kerkez. Anthony goes back to Dallo. Chris.
Yeah, you've got to say, Bournemouth, what an opportunity missed. I think it was a 4-on-2, 4-on-3. Harry Maguire made a brilliant challenge for Manchester United on the edge of his own box.
Here is Bruno Fernandes, finds Martial. Martial gives the ball away.
Hasn't clicked. The combinations haven't been there. The understanding in the final third just haven't been there for Manchester United. That change, Højlund, Martial, that's what everybody will be talking about and looking at. Hasn't paid off, has it, in the first half?
No, it hasn't. Stevenage have got a late equaliser in the first half at Burton. Burton 1, Stevenage 1, and Grimsby Town are leading Crewe 2-0 at Blundell Park. And Leyton Orient, incidentally, they are down to 10 men. Leyton Orient in League One, as they're trailing at home to Derby County by 1-0. Stoppage time here at Old Trafford. Bruno Fernandes in towards Martial, just brushed the head of Zabani and took it away from Martial, and then safely into the arms of Neto, diving to his right. A goal at Queen's Park Rangers, Aaron Paul.
QPR 1, Hull City 0. It's the forgotten man again, Chris Willock. What a goal from the left-hand side, 25 yards out, curled to perfection. QPR 1, Hull City 0.
We're in stoppage time here. We've got about 60 seconds remaining. There might be a few boos and jeers at the half-time whistle, Chris Sutton. You might have at this stage a few disgruntled Manchester United fans.
Yep, Bournemouth.
Buoyant.
Yeah.
Buoyant Bournemouth fans.
Buoyant Bournemouth, yeah. I mean, they'll be absolutely delighted, the Bournemouth fans who have made the long trip up north for their first half performance. Deserve to be in front.
And continuing their rich vein of form. leading by a goal to nil as McTominay tries to win the ball back against Christie. Back it goes to Senesi. Curling ball floated into the path of Kirkes. Rotherham 0, Swansea 1. Remember, Rotherham are down to 10 men in the Championship, and Swansea City taking full advantage. Alan Sheehan in caretaker charge after Michael Duff was sacked earlier in the week. Rotherham without a win in 7, Swansea without a win in 5. You thought maybe something had to give, unless of course it was a draw. Eintracht Frankfurt have got a 4th goal. Bournemouth are looking for another goal here. Solanke, full of menace, tried to play it back, a reverse ball in towards Semenyo, and it goes through towards Onana, and there is the half-time whistle, and there are boos and there are cheers because Manchester United are behind and they haven't played well. Manchester United 0, Bournemouth 1. Chris Sutton.
Yep, Bournemouth deservedly in front. Well taken goal from Solanke early on, but they have looked the bigger threat. They've sat in and they've countered to great effect. Manchester United have work to do. Big half-time for Erik ten Hag.
Solanke's goal after 5 minutes, and 6 minutes before the end of this first half. He could easily have increased it, but he hit the post. But Manchester United have work to do. Bournemouth have been superb. Manchester United 0, Bournemouth 1.
Visitors lead at Old Trafford. Visitors lead at the Amex. Henry Moran.
Brighton 0, Burnley 1, and Wilson Odebear's goal, the difference late in the half, cutting in on the left-hand side, finding the near post top corner with his right foot. Brighton had started slowly, they were starting to get some rhythm though. That's where the shock came really, because they rare attack forward from Burnley, they managed to get the goal, and Brighton once again failed to keep a clean sheet. Could be an upset here. Brighton 0, Burnley 1.
Match of the day, 10:20 tonight on BBC One. You will want to see it, if only for the goal at Bramall Lane. Lee Blakeman.
What a goal, what a goal. Sheffield United 1, Brentford 0. It came in stoppage time, edge of the box, James McAtee, right side, curler, across goal, top corner, over the keeper. Absolutely brilliant. Trusty and Ashula had good chances for Chris Wilder's team before that. Brentford are lucky to have Frank Onyeka still on. Yellow card for a late tackle on Vinny Souza. Caught his ankle, looked bad. VAR decided no red card. We have seen reds given for things like that though in the past. Half time, Sheffield United 1, Brentford 0.
Still playing at Molineux, Pat.
We are just now, half-time whistle, 1-1. Toffolo put Forest ahead. Paul Markey at the far post. Cunha equalised. Great work by Sarabia, but just before half-time, Kouyaté should have scored for Forest. A mistake by Kilman, let him in, and then one-on-one hit the legs of Sarr, the Wolves keeper. It's Wolves 1, Forest 1.
Earlier, Liverpool came from behind to beat Crystal Palace 2-1. Earlier in the Championship, Blackburn 0, Leeds 2, and Sunderland 2, West Brom 1. Let's start our 3 o'clock half-time roundup with the leaders Leicester at home to Plymouth. Sani Rajavajula.
Well, how it's only 1-0 to Leicester at the break, I don't know. It's Steffi Mavadidi's penalty that's the difference, but both sides have missed a load of chances, and Didi couldn't connect from a yard from across. Morgan Whittaker for Plymouth's been through on goal twice, but been denied at the break. It's Leicester 1, Plymouth 0.
Leaders are ahead, second place side are ahead as well. Charlie Slater.
They are. Borough 0, Ipswich 1. Out of the gloom, Connor Chaplin lit up the Riverside with a wonderful volley from the edge of the box 10 minutes before the break. That kind of sparked the game into life. Borough unlucky not to be level through Lati Lat's lightning run and shot that went just wide. Borough 0, Ipswich 1.
Goalless at Vicarage Road, Becky Ives.
Certainly is. Slow game, limited chances, but the best have gone to Watford, and Ken Semmers to be exact. He floated in a great free kick. It just needed a Watford touch, but somehow, despite 3 forwards reaching for it, everyone missed it. He was then one-on-one through with the keeper, but Bazzuno saved it. Watford sitting very narrow. Saints just can't break them down at the minute. Watford 0, Southampton 0.
QPR are on course for a third successive victory. Aaron Paul.
QPR 1, Hull 0. A third goal in 3 games since his recall to the first team by Chris Willock has ours ahead of the break. Rangers created plenty early on with Smith, Chair and Dykes all spurning opportunities. Hull had their own as well. Liam Delat forcing good saves from Asmir Begovic, but it's a real moment of quality from Willock that has the home side ahead at the break. QPR 1, Hull 0.
Let's see if Cardiff City Security are happier with Laura Kenyon at the break.
They're not too bad. It's Cardiff 0, Millwall 0. 44 minutes we waited for the first shot on target. Kevin Nisbet from close range for Millwall. Comfortable save. Both sides could do with a win after a pretty miserable run of results, but the only quality mark, the big tin of Quality Street, doing the rounds in the press box. It's 0-0 at half-time.
Elsewhere in the Championship, Bristol City on course for a third successive defeat. They trail at Huddersfield by a 1-0 at the break. Delano Bergzor got it. That's 4 for the season for him. Norwich 0, Preston 0. Rotherham are down to 10, and they trail Swansea at the break by a 1-0. Charlie Patino on loan from Arsenal got that on the stroke of half-time, and the other Championship game is also goalless between Stoke and Sheffield Wednesday. Let's go into League One. Sheridan Robbins at Bristol Rovers Cheltenham.
Yeah, Cheltenham leading by a 0-0. So the good form under boss Darrell Clarke is continuing, but Matt Taylor has work to do in his first game in the league as Bristol Rovers boss. And George Lloyd picked up the ball in his own half, laid it on a plate for Will Goodwin to score his 5th goal of the season. Neat finish into the bottom corner. At half-time, it's Bristol Rovers 0, Cheltenham 1.
Elsewhere in League One, Carlisle have lost 3 of their last 4, are behind at the break again. Blackpool 1, Carlisle 0. Burton 1, Stevenage 1. They're unbeaten in their last 7 in League One. Steve Evans' side. Goalless between Charlton and Cambridge. Exeter 0, Port Vale 1. They haven't won in 11, haven't Port Vale, but they do lead at the break. Leyton Orient are down to 10 and they trail Derby by a 0-0. So Derby on course for a 5th successive win. Northampton 2, Fleetwood 0. Mitchell Pinnock's 4th of the season and Sam Hoskins 12th of the season, getting the goals for John Brady's side. Peterborough lead Oxford by 2-0 at the break. It's Reading 1, Barnsley 1. Harvey Nibbs with his 9th of the season, putting the home side ahead. Herbie Kane equalising for the visitors late on in that first half. It's goalless between Wigan and Lincoln, and Shrewsbury lead at Wycombe by a 0-0 at the break. Into League Two, several games postponed because of the weather. Those at Barrow, Bradford, Forest Green Rovers, Mansfield and Sutton all gone because of the weather. We're with the leader Stockport at Morecambe, now McCorn.
Morecambe 0, Stockport 0 at half-time. County searching for a first win in 4 in all competitions at the Mazuma this afternoon. And with Wrexham's game at Forest Green off due to the weather, as you mentioned, a chance to extend their 5-point lead at the top of League 2. They've had loads of the ball, but no real clear chances. In fact, Morecambe have had the best opportunity, with Ben Hinchliffe on his 350th county appearance having to make an important save from a strike from distance. The wind and the rain, though, savage here. The corner flag swaying and swinging, not unlike a few of the people I saw out and about last night enjoying their pre-Christmas festivities. Morecambe 0, Stockport 0.
Accrington 0, Doncaster 0. AFC Wimbledon leads Swindon by a 0-0. Colchester and Crawley are 2 sides not in very good form at all. Colchester have lost their last 3. Crawley have lost their last 3 away, and yet it's Crawley that lead by a 0-0. Grimsby are 2-0 up on Crewe. Notts County lead Walsall by a 0-0, and Will Evans' 14th of the season for Newport gives them a 1-0 lead at Tranmere. Ian was saying earlier what was happening to Bayern in the Bundesliga. They've conceded a 5th against Eintracht Frankfurt. It is Eintracht Frankfurt 5, Bayern Munich 1, and they are only midway through the second half in that game in the Bundesliga. Into the Scottish Premiership. Let's go to Ibrox. Ailey Barber.
Where it was the perfect start for visitors Dundee. Amadou Bakayoko touching in at the back post as Rangers scrambled at a corner with just 5 minutes on the clock, but then Rangers took complete control. Cyril Dessers drawing them level, then James Tavernier from the penalty spot after a VAR check before Abdullah Sima continued his fantastic form in front of goal with his 13th of the season. Dundee had one chalked off for a foul on the keeper, while Rangers also had one disallowed, and there was some desperate Dundee defending to keep the scoreline somewhat respectable, but perhaps a lifeline right before the break as Rangers midfielder Jose Cifuentes had his yellow card upgraded to a red. So Rangers down to 10, but they lead at half-time by 3-1.
Celtic play Kilmarnock tomorrow. Elsewhere today, Aberdeen 0, Hearts 1, Livingston 0, Hibs 1, Motherwell 0, St Johnstone 0, and it's also goalless between St Mirren and Ross County. In the Championship, Airdrieonians 0, Dunfermline 1, Arbroath 0, Morton 1, goalless between Dundee United and Ayr. And it's Queen's Park 1, Inverness 1 in League 1 in Scotland. Alloa 0, Hamilton 0, Annan 1, Cove Rangers 2, Edinburgh City 1, Stirling 2, Falkirk 1, Kelty Hearts 0. Great first half for Queen of the South at Montrose. They lead by 4-0. In League 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 1, Peterhead 0, Clyde 2, Stranraer 1, Dumbarton 0, Stenhouse Muir 0, East Fife 2, Elgin 0, and Spartans 0, Forfar 0. In the Women's Super League earlier, Manchester City turned it round and went from a goal down to beating Aston Villa by 2-1. Exeter Chiefs, another team to turn things around this afternoon. This in Rugby Union's Champions Cup, 18-5 down at half-time. They ran out 19-18 winners. Coming to the end of the first half between Toulouse and Cardiff, and Toulouse lead by 29 points to 7. And they're also coming to the end of the first half at the Rec. Sarah Orchard.
Yeah, you come to me just as we get that half-time whistle. It's Bath 8, Ulster 14. The deadlock was broken by the home side after 27 minutes. Took a while for Ben Spencer to eventually put Joe Cocknesinger in the corner. Then Ulster got a bit of luck with a poor clearance kick off Bath's Ollie Lawrence's shin. It was Billy Burns who went over, and then a brilliant try in the end by the Ulster scrum half, Nathan Doak. It puts them in the lead at half-time. Bath 8, Ulster 14.
Let's head to the Women's T20 International, where England are closing in on victory against India. Melissa Story.
They certainly are, but they're making hard work of this run chase. They're 73 for 6 now. They only need 8 more runs, but they've lost 3 wickets in the last 2 overs. Alice Capsey, Amy Jones and now Freya Kemp dismissed on her first ball. England close to the line, but just need a few more batters to stay around to make sure they can get over it.
Minute to 4. Let's get the latest BBC News with Carl Hartley.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thanks, Mark. Israeli tanks are advancing towards the centre of Khan Yunis, the largest city in the south of Gaza. More than 70 people are reported to have been killed in the area. Here, thousands of pro-Palestine protesters have marched through London, calling for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. Police say a man has been arrested on suspicion of a racially aggravated public offence. The Trade Union Congress says it'll resist the government's law requiring a minimum level of service from certain sectors during industrial action. The TUC says it won't rest until the law is repealed. The oil producers' organisation OPEC has been criticised after a leaked letter from its head called on members at the COP climate talks to resist any deal to phase out fossil fuels. The head of OPEC says there's disproportionate pressure on fossil fuels at the summit. And passengers at Gatwick Airport have faced long delays after an air traffic control problem. Dozens of flights were affected. The airport says the outage has now been rectified.
We are just weeks away from the Strictly Come Dancing final.
And the heat is on.
What are you doing to us?
We're backstage bringing you even more from the judges.
You took this up 2 notches today.
The celebs.
When it goes well, it's actually really fun and quite impressive.
He was shocked.
I'm ready to take on this new week.
Okay, onwards we go.
And the pros.
Oh, I like this.
What show am I on again?
Strictly Come Dancing, the official podcast.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sport with Mark Chapman.
On 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
Back to Old Trafford in just a sec, where Bournemouth lead Manchester United by a 1-0. Earlier, Liverpool came from behind to beat Crystal Palace 2-1. They were trailing until Jordan Ayew got a second yellow card. Here's Roy Hodgson.
Very, very disappointed. I think that we were very harshly treated. I find it very hard to accept 9 yellow cards in the game for the so-called fouls we committed. 2 of them for kicking the ball away. I don't see it. And I thought for the rest of the time with 11 men we did extremely well. 14, we went down to 10 men. It was going to get that a bit harder. There was quite a lot of time added on, and it cost us. And Liverpool could score 2 goals. But to say I'm disappointed would really be a bit of an understatement. What I felt after the game, I actually told the referee what I felt. I'm not going to repeat it. He might, say what I said to him. Gave me a yellow card as well during the course of the game, so that'll add to the yellow card if that's counted amongst the 9. But I've got to say that I really do think that today we were hard done by.
Do you think both of the yellow cards to Jordan Ayew were questionable, or just the second one?
I thought both, but to be frank, I only saw one real tackle in the game from either us or them where I thought that deserves a yellow card, and that was right at the end of the game when Joachim Andersen, I thought with every justification, had started to get a bit frustrated and he committed a foul. I didn't see any of the others really, maybe one where we stopped a player on the run forward, but I didn't see him. But anyway, it doesn't matter. We got the yellow cards we got the result we got, but I certainly have nothing but praise for the way the players went about their jobs today.
Roy Hodgson there after Crystal Palace's 2-1 defeat, and you can watch that match of the day tonight 10:20 on BBC One. So the Premier League half times: Brighton 0, Burnley 1, Sheffield United 1, Brentford 0, and Wolves 1, Nottingham Forest 1. We're going to return to our base where Bournemouth lead Manchester United by a 1-0. We're still waiting for the teams to come back out. United are in the tunnel. I'm just trying to see who is in the tunnel and who isn't, but they've taken the camera away from there. They've looked disjointed again, have the home side, haven't they, Chris? In complete contrast to actually how the visitors attack.
Yeah, who said before the game, we just don't know which Manchester United team are going to turn up, week in and week out. Final third, they've been a massive disappointment. And discussing, with Ian at half time, as we do, I think Bournemouth would have gone in and thought, you know what, we should be further ahead.
They should. Well, they've hit the post, haven't they? They've had other chances. They should be.
And they wasted. I think they had a 3v2 or a 4v3, and where Maguire made a really important challenge for Manchester United. So look, I mean, the pattern of the game, I'm sure, will be the same in the second half. But Bournemouth, I mean, they don't half spring out well from the back, and they cause Manchester United endless problems with the way that they counter-attack.
England have won the T20 International. Melissa Story.
Yeah, England have chased down 81, beating India by 4 wickets with 52 balls to spare. Alice Capsey top scores for England with 25. England clinical with the ball in the first innings, but had a bit of a scare there at the end of that run chase. But so far, out of 2 T20s, they've gone and won both of them.
Here's Ian Dennis.
Thank you, Mark. Neither side has made a change at the start of the second half, where Bournemouth are ahead by 1-0 through Solanke's goal after 5 minutes. So Neto's in goal, a back four of Smith, Zabani, Senesi and Kirkes, Cook and Christie, Tavernier, Kluivert, Semenyo and Solanke. With Manchester United, Onana in goal, Dalot, Maguire, Shaw and Reguilon at left back, Fernandes, Amrabat, McTominay, Anthony Martial and Garnacho. So Eric Ten Hag, for the time being, reluctant to make a change. Højlund and Rashford are on the bench.
It sounds like you're suggesting he should have made a change. I think he should have done. There's a lot of talk before the game about why Martial over Højlund. Martial has an opportunity in the second half to put his first half display right, but I think we all expect more from Manchester United in this second half. More quality needed in the final third.
Manchester United looking for an early attack through Anthony, but his cross over on that right hand side just drifts out into the side netting, never troubling Neto at all, and that will be a goal kick to Bournemouth, who leading after the 5 minutes, failed to score in 6 of their previous 10 visits, but could easily have had 1 or 2 more than they've got now. And here is Solanke once again with a threat. He has been a real handful, tries to work over the cross in between the legs of Reguilon, and they're able to get the ball away. He has been a constant threat and a real menace. Manchester United with Garnacho running forward on the left hand side. Garnacho comes in field, nobody out on the wide right. Anthony's come into a central area, ball goes behind Anthony and it goes straight out of play for a throw.
Yep, not on the same wavelength, the Manchester United team, but just from a Manchester United defensive perspective, one long ball from Zabani, the right centre half of Bournemouth, up to Semenyo, who wins the header against Reguilon into Solanke, and then Bournemouth create Manchester United another problem. Eventually the United defence scramble it clear, but that's pretty basic defending from Manchester United. They are not doing very well. They are losing the duels, or have lost the duels so far in this game.
That's the voice of Chris Sutton on BBC Radio 5 Live and the World Service, also on BBC Sounds. Bristol City have equalised at Huddersfield Town in the Championship. Huddersfield 1, Bristol City 1 is a latest score. Manchester United are on currently a club record run of 22 consecutive matches without a draw since April, when it was a 2-2 draw at Tottenham, beating the previous record back in 1893-94. They'd settled for a draw at the moment, as Garnacho cuts inside, left hand side, and his cross, right footed, took a deflection. It'll be a corner. Another goal at Leicester. Sonny.
Well, yes, gone to Leicester. It's Leicester 2, Plymouth 0. Long ball, and it's Patson Daka who's finished it off. Leicester 2, Plymouth 0.
Corner kick then, which is taken early by Bruno Fernandes. Look for the run of Martial. Kluivert has sliced his clearance, Justin Kluivert, picked up by Dalot on that right hand side. Manchester United, red shirts, white shorts, black socks, playing from right to left, attacking the Stretford end. Bournemouth in their third strip, the yellow and navy half shirts. Christie slips off the ball, Garnacho hangs on to it. Reguilon along the ground, Anthony drifts into a central area, continues to run back out towards this main stand on the left. Garnacho once again. Anthony from the left touchline to Reguilon. there's a lack of incision. Now Reguilon gets round the back, and Reguilon bursts into the penalty area. Might fall to McTominay. Good shot block. Comes to Bruno Fernandes. Another block comes in. And it goes behind for a corner kick, and Manchester United have made a fast start to the second half.
Yeah, but it's Kirkers for Bournemouth. Not once but twice with really important blocks. Good run to the byline from Reguilon. The ball pulled back, McTominay at first.
In comes the corner from Bruno Fernandes. Hasn't been dealt with. Bounced over two Bournemouth players. Comes to Garnacho. His shot closed down by Christie. Headed away by Kluivert. Sorry, Chris.
Yeah, Manchester United retain possession there.
Here is Reguilon. Reguilon to the edge of the area, slips it out to his left for Garnacho, forced out of the penalty area, 6 yards up, looks to cross into the near post. Savani's outstretched right leg behind for a corner.
They're just building up a head of steam now, Manchester United. Wondered how they would react after the half-time team talk from Erik ten Hag. You can see the crowd are buying into this start of the second half.
Reguilon with the outswinging corner, near side the left. Fisted away by Neto. Garnacho wriggles clear into the penalty area, and then it was Kluivert who managed to get a foot into the challenge, only as far as Amrabat guides his header back towards Bruno Fernandes. Fernandes hits it and over-hits it, out of play for a goal kick. Bournemouth still lead by 1-0. Bramall Lane, Lee Blakeman.
Sheffield United 1-0 up, should be 2-0 up. Trustees just sent in a free kick. It found Ahmedhodzic at the back post. He pulled away from his marker, put in a shot across goal, and somehow put it wide of the far corner. Sheffield United 1, Brentford 0.
Stevenage come from behind in League One. Burton 1, Stevenage 2. Leyton Orient, remember they're down to 10 men. Leyton Orient 0, Derby County 2. Two latest scores in League One. 5 live in the World Service, 5 minutes into the second half. Good noise inside Old Trafford. After Sports Report with the results and the reaction with Mark Chapman at 5, we've got Aston Villa Arsenal to come for you next at 5:30 here on BBC Radio 5 Live. And then it's 6:06 where Chris Sutton will be taking your calls. And there could be a lot to talk about after what sounded like a few controversial incidents at Selhurst Park, and Manchester United behind here.
Liverpool finding a way. What a title race we've got on this season. We could be talking about Anthony Martial and him getting the nod this afternoon. Looks like that's a mistake so far from Erik ten Hag, just actually giving Bournemouth a throw in there with poor hold-up play.
That 4th successive win for Liverpool. Comeback kings. They've claimed 18 points from losing positions this season. They are top of the Premier League table as it stands, a point clear of Arsenal. We'll see how they respond with commentary at Villa Park. Anthony picks up the ball for Manchester United, runs infield, 30 yards out from goal, manages to squirt it out towards Fernandes on the overlap. Reguilon not required, cross deep towards the far post, back inside the Bournemouth penalty area, and then it's going to be run clear by Senesi. Did very, very well. St Mirren 1, Ross County 0 is the latest score in the Scottish Premiership, and Hibs have got a second. Livingston 0, Hibs 2, as Bournemouth get a throw on the break on this near side. Another goal at Leicester. Sonny Radford
got there eventually. Only 6 minutes of this second half gone, but Steffi Mavididi has made it Leicester 3, Plymouth 0, dancing into the area, slotting it past the keeper. 3-0 Leicester.
It's not even that cold, Sonny, I apologise. I just tried to say it quickly. So Leicester are 3-0 up. Aberdeen have got an equaliser. Aberdeen 1, Hearts 1, Motherwell 0, St Johnstone 1 is the latest score at Fir Park. Semenyo, edge of the area, pushed away by Shaw. It runs through towards Kluivert, feeds it to Tavernier. Kirkes slides into that 50-50 with Dalot. Dalot springs back to his feet and then gets the ball away to Anthony, deep inside his own half, tries to roll it clear, brings the ball away, and McTominay then passes the ball back. There's been a goal at Bristol Rovers, Sheridan Robbins.
And Rovers have equalised. Jack Hunt on his 500th career appearance. A great ball in. He couldn't miss from close range. It's Bristol Rovers 1, Cheltenham 1.
Here is Reguilon to Shaw, inside to Amrabat. His red shirt rippling in the stiff, cold breeze as it blows the way that Manchester United are attacking from right to left, still trailing. But it's quite clear by their demeanour that they've had a little bit of a rocket from the Dutchman, of Erik ten Hag, because Manchester United are a little more at it in this second half as a ball is pinged out towards that far side. Kirk has, though, read it well. Bournemouth, though, have really been very well drilled today. Charlton 1, Cambridge 0 is the latest score in League One, and that Hibs goal actually disallowed. So it remains Livingston 0, Hibs 1 after VAR at Livy. To Molyneux, Pat Murphy.
It's still 1-1, but Alanga just hit the Wolves crossbar with a powerful right foot shot. Deep cross came to him via a couple of deflections. Did as well as he could, but on such narrow margins, Ian. Wolves 1, Forest 1.
Garnacho attacking for Manchester United, does a little step over. Cross was a well blocked again by Smith. Both the fullbacks really have played very, very well for Bournemouth. We're 9 minutes into the second half.
Yeah, good battle that. Garnacho against Smith. Step over from Garnacho. Smith getting the block on there. But it is a more urgent Manchester United in this second half.
Amrabat to McTominay. Out towards Anthony. Stretford End is in full voice. The end that United are attacking. Dello makes the run right side of the penalty area. Back towards Anthony. Persistent drizzle now falling here at Old Trafford. McTominay waits. Back out it goes. They're waiting to deliver this cross. Bournemouth have got everybody back bar Solanke. Manchester United are having to be patient. Tranmere have equalised at home to Newport. 1-1. Dello to Amrabat. Forward on that right hand side. Out of play it goes for a throw. So back to Leicester and another goal.
And we've only had 10 minutes of the second half, but it's now Leicester 4, Plymouth Argyle 0. Wilfred Ndidi, cool finish. It's going to be a long afternoon for Argyle. Leicester 4, Plymouth 0.
Thanks, Sonny. St Mirren 2, Ross County 0. A throw for Bournemouth that they're in no real hurry to take. 10 minutes into the second half. Hoyland's going to be coming on. Still yet to score in the Premier League. So Manchester United, Ten Hag has given it 10 minutes. One would imagine it would be Martial who will come off for the Dane. Anthony Fernandes, his low cross blocked behind for a corner.
He's got to get the cross in earlier there, Bruno Fernandes. Clever little play down the right hand side, had the opportunity to fizz that across, took a touch. Well, blocks again.
They have defended well, they've pressed well.
There he is.
And the huge cheers will tell you that Hoyland is coming on and Martial is going off. Another goal, Watford, Becky Ives.
It is Watford 0, Southampton 1. Shea Adams with the finish, drilled it into the back of the net after he was laid off from Stuart Armstrong. Watford 0, Southampton 1.
Southampton looking to go 12 unbeaten. Corner taken short, right hand side. Anthony then with the cross, headed out only as far as Garnacho. Tried to prod it back into the area. That was blocked by Christie. Helping out as Martial makes his way back towards the dugouts as he trudges his way in front of the main stand. Shaw to Amrabat. Amrabat waits. Plays it to Garnacho. Level the area. Garnacho with a right-footed diagonal cross towards Hoyland. Zabani was there. Behind for another corner kick.
Good movement from Hoyland across. Zabani, the right side of Bournemouth centre half, but just can't get the touch on Zabani for another corner.
Hoyland, who's yet to score in the Premier League in 11 previous appearances. Reguilon, corner kick, left hand side. It's an outswinger. McTominay's downward header runs right of goal. Anthony with his back to goal pulls it back. Bruno Fernandes flicks it back. Anthony forced away from the penalty area. Strong pressure though from the home team looking for an equaliser. Anthony chips the ball into the penalty box. Solanke's back there as well. No touch off Solanke. I think he just ducked at the right time and it runs out of play for a goal kick. Bournemouth still lead 1-0.
From the first corner, McTominay, decent opportunity that got up well but couldn't power the header on target.
Bournemouth are going to be making a change. Whilst that change happens, we will go back to Bramall Lane. Sheffield United, Brentford, Lee Blakeman.
Sheffield United still leading 1-0. How it's not 2, I've got no idea. Ball in from the right, just found Andre Brooks 6 yards out, just the keeper to beat, and he drilled it straight at Mark Fleck, and it's Sheffield United 1, Brentford 0.
Semenyo is the player who has come off to be replaced by Philip Billing, so that will certainly add a lot of physicality for when they're on defensive duties with Philip Billing, and I would imagine he'll go into the 10 role and Clivert then will go out wide.
Yeah, your imagination's very good because that's what's happened. Good challenge from Amrabat there though.
Walsall have equalised at Meadow Lane. Notts County 1, Walsall 1 is the latest score in League 2. There is a real draft inside Old Trafford as the wind picks up an icy chill on this December afternoon, where Manchester United, who've won their last 2 home games against Luton and Chelsea, but are behind here to this Bournemouth side that are showing another side to their game. The defensive aspect of their game that had matched the threat that they posed in the first half. Zabani to Senesi, approaching the hour mark at Old Trafford. Despite all the pressure, Neto hasn't been worked, has he?
I think there was that one header in the first half, wasn't there? Harry Maguire tried to loop it back across, but that's it.
Kirkes forward from his left back role for Bournemouth, left corner of the area. Cross then is swung over, headed out by Shaw. Bruno Fernandes takes that touch and gives it straight towards Christie. Christie plays it back out towards Tavernier. Cross then fired in and almost flicked by Solanke, who'd made the run in towards the near post, just couldn't get there.
Flag's gone up for an offside. Billing had made a run a little bit too early. Thought he did look offside. What a cross that was. Nanane getting the touch. Oh, I tell you what, had that gone to VAR, I think we would have seen him onside.
Yeah,
so the wrong decision there.
Billings ball in, Solanke threw himself with a leading right leg, Hoyland backing into Zabani, and then Zabani throws him to the ground. He just tried to roll the central defender, and Zabani's going to get...
Well, Hoyland's got a yellow card first, and quite right from Peter Banks, the referee, because Hoyland's gesturing to bring out the yellow card for Zabani.
That was something that we talked about in the first half.
Good refereeing that, the right refereeing, and just checking whether Zabani...
I don't think there was...
No.
He didn't show a yellow card to Zabani.
And do you know what? As a former centre forward, understand that role. He's backing in. Zabani's fighting 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Hoyland uses his body well. Is more aggressive, I think, than Anthony Martial. But it is a foul. But really, a yellow card? I don't think so. Hoyland picking up one.
Fernandes with the diagonal free kick, headed up by Dalot, headed away by Billing. Comes then to Anthony on the right-hand side with his cross, and the header from McTominay was straight at the goalkeeper. He just had to really go onto his tiptoes to comfortably claim that. Bath against Ulster, Sarah Orchard.
It's Bath 15, Ulster 14, 47 minutes now on the clock, and hooker Tom Dunn flopped down after a driving maul for the home side. It was a 5-metre line out, extras added by the skipper Ben Spencer. It's Bath 15, Ulster 14.
If you're a Bournemouth fan, you might not necessarily like this statistic. Flags up on the far side, and that was Hoyland. And now on that occasion, I was coming back from an offside position. It was an early flag, and the play has been stopped. But if you're a Bournemouth fan, you might not like this statistic, but 5 of Manchester United's 9 Premier League wins have been achieved with winning goals scored beyond the 75th minute. Brentford and Fulham will remember that they scored injury time goals in their particular games, but we could have another late show here at Old Trafford. But it's building, the tension. Manchester United 0, Bournemouth 1. Brighton and Burnley. Henry Moran has the latest at the Amex.
Brighton 0, Burnley 1. Frustration building here for De Zerbi and the Brighton supporters. 4 substitutes on, one of them Mitoma curling over first time. It remains Brighton 0, Burnley 1.
Certainly frustration is a word that could be described to sum up the mood of the Manchester United supporters, Chris Sutton.
Oh, absolutely. Started the second half with a lot of intent. Brighton, it's Brighton nearly getting back in the game against Burnley, but Bournemouth just along the coast. Don't know how far, Ian, but they seem to be getting decent control in this game again now, don't they? Slowing things down.
Cambridge United, who lost their last 3. Neil Harris was appointed as their new manager in midweek. They're 2-0 down at the Valley. Charlton 2, Cambridge 0, Colchester 0, Crawley 2 is the latest score, and you're up to date with the goals as they go in. 5 Live, BBC Sounds and the World Service. Maguire steps forward out of defence. We've been playing for 63 minutes here at Old Trafford. Over the halfway line, Maguire comes. His forward ball strikes the heels of Bruno Fernandes, and Smith lifts it away to safety. Billing will give chase, one bounce, and it's caught by Andoni Iraola, the 41-year-old Spaniard, with his grey overcoat on, his head bowed slightly as that wind and the rain blows into his face as Amrabat picks it up midway through his own half, putting him under pressure to Onana. And Amrabat once again took it on the turn, despite the presence of Solanke and Billing. As Christie looked to press, Amrabat swivels, plays it out towards the right. Anthony inside his own half has it, and then leaves it now for Maguire. Dalot is ahead of him. Manchester United still behind. Manchester United at the minute, all their possession, just haven't created anywhere near like the chances that Bournemouth have. Bournemouth leading through a Solanke goal, well taken after 5 minutes. They had another goal ruled out for offside. Solanke has since hit the post. As Garnacho runs forward, Smith back at him. Garnacho slows it down infield, given away too easily by McTominay. Again, groans by the Old Trafford faithful. Manchester United win the ball back. Bruno Fernandes to Højlund with his back to goal, leaves it for Fernandes, back towards Højlund. Højlund's shot takes a block. Fernandes goes down inside the penalty area. This is Anthony. His effort is blocked. Fernandes has still stayed down inside the box. And then it's Smith who gets the ball away. Was there anything in it? Kluivert keeps it in play for Bournemouth. Supporting run from Cook on the inside. Reguilon looks to close him down. Cook's strength gets there. Amrabat tries to win it. Bournemouth though now have it with Kluivert. Referee plays the advantage. Blackpool 2, Carlisle 0 is the latest score in League One. It's a lively second half, Chris Sutton.
Oh, it is a lively second half. Really good link-up play. Fernandes and Højlund. Højlund initially had the shot, didn't catch it cleanly. Then Fernandes ended up going down. I don't think there was anything in that. Manchester United huffing and puffing. Can't find a way through just yet.
Here is Christie. Christie looking good in the midfield, rolls it out towards Kluivert. Kluivert now running into the penalty area, right hand side. Out of the box he goes, tries to nick it into the path of Solanke, comes towards Billing, plays it in, clips it long, looking for Tavernier. By the way, with an eye on Tuesday, we told you that Bayern Munich were 3-1 down at half-time to Eintracht Frankfurt. They ended up losing away 5-1. Bayern Munich losing 5-1 away to Eintracht Frankfurt in the Bundesliga. Champions League returns next week. Manchester United Bayern here on Tuesday. Newcastle United against Milan at St James's Park on Wednesday night. Two games where their destiny is out of the hands of both of the English sides for those two commentaries on Tuesday and Wednesday. This is the Premier League, the first of 6 live commentaries from 5 Live Sport this weekend. Kluivert to Billing. Bournemouth still lead. 66 minutes played. Walsall have come from behind. Notts County 1, Walsall 2 is the latest score in League 2. Amrabat. Short. Reguilon. Bournemouth though, still pressing, still working hard. And now Amrabat hits a diagonal ball and spreads it out towards Dalot. Ahead of him he finds Anthony. Dalot's continued his run. Anthony looks for Dalot, enters the penalty area, and Dalot hits the side netting. But at least that was a little bit better in terms of penetration and creativity.
Well, it was, but what a terrible decision in the end from Dalot, who kicks the advertising boards in frustration. Wonderful crossfield ball initially from Amrabat to release Dalot. Feeds the ball outside of the boot to Anthony, carries on his run, an underlap. Angle against him, tries to beat Neto at his near post. Højlund was in the middle screaming at him, you've got to square that. And that sums up Manchester United in the final third so far this afternoon.
Rotherham down to 10 men have equalised at home to Swansea City in the Championship. Rotherham 1, Swansea 1. Free kick goes against Kluivert. He throws his arms away in disgust at the assistant referee. Wimbledon 2, Swindon 0 is the latest score in League 2. We'll be getting the team news in about 3 or 4 minutes' time from John Murray at Villa Park. Aston Villa against Arsenal is our next commentary at 5:30 as Solanke picks up, drives at the heart of the Manchester United defence. Out towards Tavernier, scoops it over Billing with a header! And Bournemouth increase their lead! They are bouncing
dancing in the away end, because Bournemouth might well be on course for their first ever win at Old Trafford, and boy do they deserve it. Manchester United 0, Bournemouth 2.
Devastating break once again from Bournemouth. Top billing in the end. Solanke, who has been brilliant all afternoon, drives with the ball, pops it out left. Tavernier stands the ball up to the far post, and Billings' desire just to get on the end of it out-muscles Luke Shaw. I'm not so sure he actually heads it in. I think it may come off his shoulder, Ian. Back across Onana. It's a careless ball initially from Luke Shaw, and then Solanke, good driving run, gets beyond McTominay in the Manchester United midfield. I think it does come off his right shoulder, gets up early, but he wants to make that ball his. Onana, he can't keep it out of the net. What a performance from Bournemouth.
Nobody had tracked the run of Billing, had they?
No, he does well initially to really, he gets in between Reguilon and Shaw and just wants to make that ball his, and he does do. And Manchester United, blimey, a picture of Eric Ten Hag, who looks pretty glum-faced, but this sums up Manchester United all season, doesn't it? Lack of consistency. You don't know what you're going to get one week to the next.
What a story at Old Trafford. Manchester United 0, Bournemouth 2. A goal at the Riverside. Charlie Slater.
69 on the clock. It's Borough 0, Ipswich 2. Off the bench, Amari Hutchinson one-on-one with the goalkeeper, slides it into the bottom corner. It was against the run of play, but Ipswich look like they're going to maintain pace with Leicester near the top of the Championship. Borough 0, Ipswich 2.
Garnacho into the penalty area. Quickly again, surrounded by the yellow and navy shirts, and that goes behind for a corner, for a goal kick. It came off an outstretched leg of McTominay at the near post. There's been a goal at Morecambe. Niall McCorn.
And it's gone the way of Morecambe. They lead league leaders in League Two, Stockport, by 1-0 thanks to Michael Mellon's 11th goal of the season, the son of former Tranmere manager Mickey Mellon, and it's a lead in which Morecambe probably don't deserve on the balance of the play, and it's a lead in which Wrexham fans will be delighted to hear. It's Stockport 0, Morecambe 1.
Yes, Wrexham's game at Forest Green postponed today. Morecambe have lost their last 4, so that's somewhat of a surprise for Dave Challinall's side to be behind. Sinistero is going to be coming on for Justin Kluivert. We've got under 20 minutes remaining. Team news on its way from Villa Park, but in the pouring rain here, they'll be singing in the rain. Bournemouth 2-0.
Oh, absolutely. And Manchester United again, just not dealing with, it's one long ball. Tavernier up against Dallow, heads the ball inside, win possession. Little interplay with Solanke, and they win a free kick.
So whilst the substitution takes place here, as promised, here's the team news from Villa Park with John Murray.
Yes, and no shocks here that after their win over the European champions 3 days ago, Aston Villa are unchanged. Arsenal make just the one change from Luton. Zinchenko returns at left back with Kivior on the bench.
Aston Villa, who've won all 7 of their home games. It is the best home record in the Premier League with Liverpool. Michael Brown alongside John for commentary of that after Sports Report at 5:30 on 5 Live. Bournemouth leading by 2-0. They've lost 9 of their previous 10 trips here to Old Trafford, but they have been absolutely fantastic here today, and they're 2 goals to the good as they have a free kick that is taken on the left hand side and it's spooned behind by Dallow. Update now from Molineux. Pat Murphy.
It's still Wolves 1, Forest 1, but Forest should be ahead just now. Toffolo 6 yards out, cross from Williams after a mistake by Doherty. He really should have got that header down. A more difficult header from him had made it 1-0 in the first half. It's Wolves 1, Forest 1.
Elsewhere, Sheffield United lead Brentford by 1-0. Brighton still trailing at home to Burnley by 1-0. And earlier Crystal Palace 1, Liverpool 2. So Liverpool going to the top of the table. Corner kick for Bournemouth. It's their supporters who are making the noise. Away towards our right. Tavernier, stuttering run up, in swinging corner kick. Flying header, behind it goes for another corner kick. That was from Reguilon, who threw himself at that inside the 6-yard area. But 17 minutes remaining on a day where Manchester United just haven't looked like scoring.
Haven't laid a glove on Bournemouth.
Tavernier waits to take the corner kick again on this right hand side. It's left footed and the header is in, and Senesi has got on the end of that right wing corner kick, and Bournemouth are in absolute dreamland. Senesi has scored again. Manchester United 0, Bournemouth 3, and that surely confirms a first ever win at Old Trafford as the Manchester United fans head to the exits in their droves.
Well, as basic as it comes. Manchester United, not enough players wanted to head the ball. Simple corner, left-footed in-swinger. Senesi gets up really well, heads the ball into the far corner. No chance for Onana. I mean, you couldn't make this up, really. Manchester United, red-faced, embarrassed by Bournemouth on their own patch. I mean, he's headed that in, unchallenged, from 6 yards, back across Onana. It's a textbook header. It really is.
The goal's going in live on 5 Live, straight to Brighton. Henry Moran.
Equaliser for Brighton. Brighton 1, Burnley 1. A dangerous downward header at the back post, back across the goal. Perfect header. Perfect equaliser for Brighton. Brighton 1, Burnley 1.
Another goal. Queen's Park Rangers, Aaron Paul.
QPR are staring at 3 wins on the bounce. It's Rangers 2, Hull 0. This time Elias Chair squared the ball in the box. He diverted the ball past the goalkeeper. QPR 2, Hull 0.
Well, how's this for Bournemouth? They've taken 10 points out of their last 12. They've beaten Newcastle, they beat Sheffield United, they drew with Villa, won away at Crystal Palace, and now they're winning here at Old Trafford. 9 without a win at the start of the season. They picked up just 3 points out of a possible 27. Now they're looking at 16 points from their last 7 games, if you include the 3 here that they're set to bank in the rain at Old Trafford. 3-0. Cross comes in, gathered in by Neto. Update from Sheffield United, then Lee Blakeman.
Sheffield United leading Brentford 1-0, chances at both ends. Slimani for Sheffield United's had a shot saved by Flecken, and then a Janelt cross for Brentford has been headed into the ground at the back post by Visser. We have got 15 minutes to go. Sheffield United 1, Brentford 0.
And Doni Iraola, who was captain of that Athletic Bilbao side that knocked Manchester United out of the Europa League 11 years ago, managed by Marcelo Bielsa, a disciple of Bielsa, is starting to work his magic here for Bournemouth as they continue their impressive run of form. And I mentioned how many few points they'd picked up after 9 games. At that stage there were 2 points from safety. They could be going 10 points clear of safety now with this win here at Old Trafford. Rotherham 1, Swansea 2 is the latest score. Hoyland toiling on the edge of the area. McTominay shot blocked by Bournemouth. They've defended so well as well. It's not just about the chances that they've taken. Had they taken all of their chances, the margin of victory could have been far greater.
Absolutely. Should have gone in at half-time further ahead, but they've limited Manchester United to scraps, haven't they?
Bournemouth with Christie turns it out of play for a throw. Let's get an update from the Rugby Union. Sarah Orchard.
Bath 18, Ulster 14, 59 minutes played. Bath have extended their lead with a Ben Spencer penalty. That was after long passages of play down at the Ulster end of the field. The game is not safe, but Ulster had a brilliant finish to that first half. Haven't really found their form yet in the second. It's Bath 18, Ulster 14.
Manchester United will be on course to drop 12 points at home this season. They dropped 9 throughout the whole of last season at Old Trafford. 3-0 to Bournemouth, who have been superb. Latest scores will start in the Scottish Premiership. Aberdeen 1, Hearts 1, Livingston 0, Hibs 1, Motherwell 0, St Johnstone 1. Rangers, who are down to 10 men, coming from behind to lead Dundee 3-1 at Ibrox. Celtic are at Kilmarnock tomorrow. Their lead at the top will just be 5 points with that Rangers win. And St Mirren lead Ross County by 2-0. I'll give you the latest scores in League 2, League 1 and the Championship very, very soon. Usual goal service alongside the 3 o'clock commentary here on BBC Radio 5 Live. With Manchester United 3-0 down. Garnacho shoots. It was a tired looking effort. How do they pick themselves up for Bayern Munich on Tuesday night?
Absolutely no choice, have they? They have to do it. Fortunately for them, I don't think Bayern Munich are at their peak. Have to believe, but this is a tough one to take. I mean, this season essentially, you look at Manchester United's results, they've been bullying the teams at the bottom, haven't they? When they've played anybody half decent, it just hasn't been there. The only team in the top half they've beaten is Chelsea, and they're bottom of the top half.
Grimsby 2, Crewe 1. Crewe have a goal back. It's going to be a triple change being made by Manchester United. Johnny Evans, who came off the bench against Chelsea on Wednesday for his first appearance in 4 weeks. Pelestri and Rashford are the other two players who wait to come on. Dello's overhit that ball. They've been woeful today, Manchester United.
Yeah, just not on the same wavelength. In an attacking capacity, there's been no good combination play. There hasn't been any good link-up play. They have been awful. Neto hasn't been well. You could have played in goal for Bournemouth this afternoon, Ian.
Well, here comes the triple change. Shaw is off, Anthony is off, and I think Garnacho's going to be the other player as we go to Molineux and Pat Murphy.
It's still 1-1, chances at either end now. This game could go either way. Cunha for Wolves should have scored. Hit the legs of Turner in the Forest goal. It's Wolves 1, Forest 1.
So Evans on for Shaw, Pelestri for Anthony, and Rashford for Garnacho. To Bramall Lane, Lee Blakeman.
Sheffield United 1, Brentford 0. Brentford have just nearly equalised though. Ball played in, deflected up into the air, and as it dropped down, Visser hit it on the volley, went straight at Fodringham. Sheffield United 1, Brentford 0.
Bournemouth header away by Christie. Bouncing ball, Reguilon will retrieve it, but it's all too late now for Manchester United with just over 10 minutes remaining. So Evans now partnering Maguire. As the Pat referred earlier about the Wolves fans taunting Steve Cooper, it's the Bournemouth fans now who are taunting Eric Ten Hag with a chance of getting sacked in the morning. Latest scores then, we've given you the Scottish Premiership here in League 2. Wimbledon 2, Swindon 0, Accrington 0, Doncaster 0. The games at Barrow, Bradford City and Forest Green were postponed. Colchester 0, Crawley 2, Grimsby 2, Crewe 1. Mansfield MK Dons was also a victim of the weather, as was Sutton against Harrogate. Morecambe 1, the leaders Stockport 0, Notts County 1, Walsall 2, Tranmere Rovers 1, Newport County 1. As Rashford still yet to score at Old Trafford this season, tries to win the ball back and succeeds. Then Pelestri picks it up, tries to weave his way through. Reguilon stands it up, and Neto comes, gathers and collects.
There's a shock. Final ball, just not there again. As Neto comes too close to him, the ball just clipped up by Reguilon, and an easy claim for Neto.
I'll give you the latest scores in League 1 after we've heard of a goal in the Championship at Cardiff. Laura Kenyon.
Cardiff 1, Millwall 0, bundled in from a corner by Dimitrios Goutas for his third of the season. A poor game, neither side really deserved the win, but it's Cardiff 1, Millwall 0.
Remember in League 1, the top two, Portsmouth against Bolton, they play on Monday night. So the only change at the top is Stevenage potentially going third as they're leading at Burton. By 2-1. Blackpool 2, Carlisle 0, Bristol Rovers 1, Cheltenham 1, Charlton 2, Cambridge United 0, Exeter 0, Port Vale 1, Leyton Orient down to 10 men, trailing at home to Derby County by 2-0, Northampton 2, Fleetwood 0, Peterborough 2, Oxford United 0, Reading 1, Barnsley 1, Wigan Lincoln is goalless, Wickham 0, Shrewsbury 1. Back to Bramall Lane, Lee.
Two big chances since you were last here 2 minutes ago for Sheffield United. Archer in behind, just the keeper to beat. Fleckham with a great save, and then Slimani's just got in behind and hit the side netting from 6 yards out. 8 to play, 1-0 Sheffield United lead.
5 Live Breakfast returns on Monday morning 6 till 9 with Rachel and Rick, and the Win the Headlines. A chance to win a trip to the darts. You'll be able to hear that on Monday morning on BBC Radio 5 Live. The two results in the early kickoffs in the Championship: Blackburn Rovers 0, Leeds United 2, Sunderland 2, West Bromwich Albion 1. So under their caretaker manager Mike Dodds, Sunderland getting a win at the Stadium of Light. Latest scores: Cardiff 1, Millwall 0, as we heard from Laura. Just one win in 9 for Millwall before today. Huddersfield 1, Bristol City 1, Leicester City 4, Plymouth 0, so the leaders going well at home. Middlesbrough 0, Ipswich Town 2. Ipswich will remain a point behind. Norwich 0, Preston North End 0, Queen's Park Rangers 2, Hull City 0, Rotherham down to 10 men 1, Swansea City 2, Stoke Sheffield Wednesday is goalless, and Southampton looking to go 12 unbeaten are leading at Watford by 1-0. And in the Premier League earlier, Crystal Palace 1, Liverpool 2, Brighton 1, Burnley 1 is the latest score. Sheffield United 1, Brentford 0, Wolves 1, Forest 1. Rashford attacking for Manchester United, who are 3-0 down, goes to ground inside the penalty area, and the referee gives a free kick in favour of Bournemouth. 7 minutes remaining.
Yeah, Marcus Rashford going to ground asking for a penalty. Took a heavy touch actually, driving into the box. That Manchester United left-hand side, cutting inside on his right foot. How many times have we seen that over the years? But Zabarnyi, that's in fact it's Billing who pinches the ball off him. And Bournemouth just allowed to take the sting out of the game, running the clock down. This has been a perfect performance from them, hasn't it?
A yellow card there is shown to Bruno Fernandes as he continues to chunter away at referee Peter Banks. He hasn't taken any flack in that sense, has he? He's shown 3 yellow cards to Manchester United players for what is clearly dissent.
Absolutely bang on again. Bruno ranting and frothing at the mouth at the referee. Peter Banks not taking any nonsense. That's the way it should be. Just think, look, I mean, you can understand the frustration, but maybe he should be angry at himself. Maybe he is angry at himself because some of his passing in the second half has been woeful. Miracle passes, just not there.
The focus will be on Manchester United's demise. Whether that you agree or not with that, but it should really be on Bournemouth, who, Billing once again, they have been absolutely terrific. In comes the cross and Lanky couldn't take it, slightly behind him.
I think Tavernier saying, why didn't you let that run through? I think he had to try and take it to Lanky.
Ball hit long, looking towards Rashford. They go for the more direct approach as Rashford enters the penalty area. I read an excellent report about Bournemouth and the transformation that is taking place under Andoni Iraola in the I newspaper today online, with written by Daniel Story, that charts everything that he's doing, from defensively, the way that they press, the way that they take their chances, everything in terms of the training schedule. And Bournemouth are a club now who are very much looking up under the young Spaniard. 3-0 they lead. 5 minutes remaining of normal time. Leyton Orient 0, Derby County 3, and Barnsley are now leading 2-1 at Reading, also in League One. Another goal at Morecambe. Leaders, the last we heard of League Two, Stockport were behind. Niall McCord.
And now they're level. They've just equalised with an excellent goal, well manufactured and worked in at the far post by Kyle Wootton. County had been applying the pressure. Morecambe were holding on to that lead, and they've creaked and cracked, and now it's level. Morecambe 1, Stockport 1.
Well, this would only be a consolation for Manchester United if they were to score. You would think. In it goes, fired in from the right hand side, and flashes behind for another corner kick. That was Sinistera who was back there helping out. 4 minutes remaining, another corner kick to come from the right hand side for Manchester United, but 3-0 down and right down the throat of Neto.
I mean, he's like a magnet, isn't he, Neto, in the Bournemouth goal? I mean, just when you think, just need the quality on the cross, on the delivery, try and nick a goal back and build some pressure before the end, straight down the keeper's throat.
Well, it'll be a rare clean sheet for him, only his 4th in 14, if he does keep Manchester United out, as Bournemouth lead by 3-0. What's the latest at Molineux, Pat Murphy?
It's still 1-1. Interesting call here from Steve Cooper. He's taken off Elanga with his pace and trickery, and he's brought on the old warhorse Chris Wood. Good in the air, but you know what you'll get from him, but you'll not get Elanga's elusiveness. It's still Wolves 1, Forest 1.
Thank you, Pat. Tranmere 2, Newport 1 is the latest score in League Two, and we're up to date with the goals as they go in with just 3 minutes remaining. So Bournemouth on course for an outstanding 3 points, and thoroughly deserved. Ouattara is now going to be coming on. Tavernier will come off. But for Manchester United, and we'll be here on Tuesday night for the game against Bayern, there are few crumbs of comfort to take into that pivotal Champions League game, Chris.
Well, what you would say is it's hard to imagine them playing much worse on Tuesday night, isn't it?
Fair point.
But this is, I mean, the whole thing about Manchester United all season, and people talking about the run they'd been on and the wins they'd been on. You strip everything back, the performances haven't been there. They've been a fortunate Manchester United this season. They've been flat track bullies. They've beaten, the sides in the bottom half of the table up against another side in the bottom half of the table today. And let's get it right, 3-0 flatness Manchester United. This could be 5.
Certainly could. It was actually a double change. Not only did Ouattara come on for Tavernier, but Lewis Cook, who again superb in the midfield, replaced by Joe Rothwell, actually a Manchester United fan. He was in their youth system as a young lad, but didn't actually play for the first team before he went to Blackburn Rovers, and that's where Bournemouth, of course, had picked him up. Wimbledon 3, Swindon 0 is their latest score in League 2, as we have under 2 minutes remaining.
It just shows all your sort of stats, and you looked at the historic stats. What a load of rubbish. Don't count, do they?
No, they don't. They don't. First ever win for Bournemouth here at Old Trafford. Those stats have been banished by Bournemouth. Charlton 2, Cambridge 1. An update from the Blades, Lee Blakeman.
Sheffield United 1, Brentford 0. United have just missed another chance to kill the game. This time Archer wide from 25 yards. You do worry when you see a team miss this many opportunities, because Brentford are starting to press into the final minute. Sheffield United 1, Brentford 0.
73,427 is the attendance inside Old Trafford this afternoon, and many look like they've already left.
There he was earlier having a go at the referee, Bruno Fernandes. We've seen three passes like that in the second half. He is trying miracle passes. They are wayward. They are not on. He has had an absolute stinker today, and he's the Manchester United leader, supposedly, on the field.
Well, we'll try and bring you as much live reaction as we can in Sports Report that is coming up with Mark Chapman. But certainly Eric Ten Hag will be a very disappointed and disgruntled manager. Full time in the Rugby Union, Bath against Ulster. Sarah Orchard.
Still got about 10 minutes to play. It's Bath 25, Ulster 14, but replacement prop Thomas du Toit, he's just gone over for their third. Ulster reduced to 14 after a yellow card to Matty Ray. It's looking strong for Bath with 9 minutes to go. They lead 25-14.
I was getting ahead of myself. It often happens on a Saturday afternoon. Sheffield Wednesday are leading Stoke. Stoke have lost their last 3 before today, and bottom of the table Sheffield Wednesday with a goal in the Potters in the Championship, and Exeter are down to 10 men as they trail at home to Port Vale by a goal to 0. Exeter without a win, Port Vale without a win in 11, but Port Vale leading now 1-0 against the 10 men of Exeter, and Motherwell have got an equaliser at home to St Johnstone. Motherwell 1, St Johnstone 1, and 5 minutes have added on time for maybe Eric Ten Hag to try and wonder what he's going to say to the media, the questions that will be posed to him after a dreadful display.
What can you say after such an insipid performance?
Anemic.
Absolutely. Absolutely woeful this has been.
Wretched.
Sort of wretched. Yeah. You talk about his words in the programme before the game about being brave and having plenty of energy in the week, and performance levels are getting there. I heard him a couple of days ago talking about the injuries he'd had to contend with at the start of the season. No excuse for this today, absolutely no excuse.
Amrabat being forced back by the ever-willing Ryan Christie, and through their high press they win the ball back, and they could be in again. Onana almost brought him down, and then it's rolled in by Sinisterra, and Bournemouth have got a fourth, and that all resulted with their adventure, their desire to press and win the ball back, and Manchester United have been absolutely hammered here. It was Ouattara, in fact, who got the goal for Bournemouth. Manchester United 0, Bournemouth 4, hammered at home, and Bournemouth have been brilliant, but Manchester United truly woeful.
Should I say, from Bournemouth's perspective, the cherry on the cake? They have slaughtered Manchester United this afternoon. Amrabat, ball into Harry Maguire, that press from Bournemouth. It was Solanke, actually. What a game he's had, Solanke, winning the ball. And Ouattara actually takes a heavy touch initially. Onana comes out, and at the second attempt just pops it in. 4-0, humiliation for Manchester United. Just wonder whether they're checking maybe a possible handball there, Ian, as the ball pops up.
A potential check It did strike his hand. It would be harsh, but if they're going to be consistent, there was the use of the arm that helped to maybe control it. I'd be surprised if this goal is given, but at no point does it hide the level of superiority that Bournemouth have had in this game. Reading 1, Barnsley 3 is the latest score. Aberdeen have got a late winner at Pittodrie. Aberdeen 2, Hearts 1. Northampton 3, Fleetwood 0. A goal at Peterborough, Nikesh Regani.
Yeah, Peterborough 3, Oxford United 0. They've secured all 3 points. Ryan de Havilland scoring from close range after a cross from the right. It's Peterborough 3, Oxford United 0.
The goal doesn't stand. It will only stay at 3. It did strike the hand of Ouattara, and players back underway. VAR has ruled that out. Blackpool 3, Carlisle 0 is the latest score. An update from Bath. Sarah.
Bath 30, Ulster 14, 74 minutes played. It's a bonus point try now for Bath after the cool head of England's Ollie Lawrence put Joe Cocknesinger in for his second. It's looking strong. Time running out for Ulster. It's Bath 30, Ulster 14.
Rashford. Well, as you said earlier, Chris, this only flatters Manchester United, the scoreline, because the margin of victory should have been so much greater for Bournemouth. That's how good they've been.
Yeah,
and how bad Manchester United
let's get it right. This is Manchester United in their own backyard being schooled with respect from Bournemouth. Bournemouth are on a good run, but quite frankly, it's not been good enough in any way, shape or form. It's not a Manchester United team who have peppered Neto's goal. Neto has had an afternoon off, essentially. Bournemouth have looked the better organised, more athletic, greater energy. They've carried a threat. Not good enough for Manchester United and Eric Ten Hag this afternoon.
And Solanke has bullied that back line. Let's get an update from Brighton. Henry Moran.
Deep in stoppage time, Brighton 1, Burnley 1. James Trafford in the Burnley goal with a couple of fine stops, most recently from Mitoma, to keep the score level. Brighton pushing for a winner, 1-1.
Colchester have got a goal back in League 2. Colchester 1, Crawley 2. So Brighton 1, Burnley 1, Sheffield United 1, Brentford 0. That could be a 4th defeat out of 5 for Brentford. And Wolves 1, Nottingham Forest 1. Commentary to come, Aston Villa against Arsenal. Tomorrow in 5 Lives, Premier League Sunday. We've got Luton Town, Manchester City at 2, to be followed by Tottenham against Newcastle. Everton against Chelsea on Sports Extra. Fulham West Ham will be online. Champions League back next week. Old Trafford Tuesday. United against Bayern. St James's Park on Wednesday. Newcastle against Milan. Sheffield United, Brentford. Lee Blakeman. Oh no, Brentford could be in here. This is Solanke, able to turn, might fall towards Christie, looking for that 4th goal after the initial one had been chalked out. And Bournemouth is still pressing, and Manchester United doing all the defending. Here is Rothwell, leaves it on the edge of the area to Christie. But the last few seconds, we can in fact go back to Lee, sorry.
United 1, Brentford 0. The final whistle has just gone. Chris Wilder with his first win since returning as manager. James McAtee with an absolute worldie to win it at the end of the first half. It's ended Sheffield United 1, Brentford 0.
Hoyland running forward on the right hand side. Late goal at Vicarage Road. Becky Ives.
There certainly is, and he's gone to Watford. Watford 1, Southampton 1. Substitute Healy's been on the field literally about 30 seconds, took his chance, smashed into the bottom corner, and they've salvaged the points. Watford 1, Southampton 1.
I can tell you that Leicester City, the leaders of the Championship, have won by 4 goals to 0. But here is the final whistle at Old Trafford, and there are a chorus of boos as Manchester United have been thoroughly beaten by a brilliant Bournemouth side. 3 goals to 0. Chris Sutton.
Yep, go back to what I said before the game. Eric Ten Hag in the week talked about Chelsea, the game against Chelsea. They were brave, proactive and energetic. Anything but that today. Bournemouth deservedly beat Manchester United, better in all areas of the pitch. They absolutely battered Manchester United. Solanke with the first goal took it so well. And I mean, it was an absolute pummeling. I think Eric Ten Hag must be shell-shocked. The nature of this defeat is going to pile the pressure on Eric Ten Hag. How they dust themselves down and pick themselves up for Tuesday night, heaven knows.
Back to the drawing board ahead of Bayern for Manchester United, but Bournemouth were absolutely outstanding. Solanke with the first goal after 5 minutes. They then had a goal ruled out for offside. Solanke hit the post, and then second half goals from Billing and Senesi, and then they still had another goal ruled out. Bournemouth could have won by 4, 5, even more. They've been that good. Full time at Old Trafford. Manchester United 0, Bournemouth 3, and their first ever win at Old Trafford.
Reaction to come during Sports Report. Late equalisers in the...